You are now listening to N21FM, a Pokemon podcast. I'm your host, Glenn, joined as always here in the studio by my wonderful co-host, Johnny. How you doing today, buddy? It's nice to have you here.
Doing good. I'm happy to be here. It's an early morning for us, but we're having a good time.
Yes. So for those of you with a keen eye who pay attention to the show, you'll notice that we are not currently interviewing Juancho Saldana. We had some things come up. We're having to reschedule with him, but don't worry. There will be an episode with Juancho coming up at the start of what will be season 3 of N21FM. Probably, I think, the second episode in that season. So it'll be a while, probably around mid-August, late August. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Just had some things come up where it didn't work out this week. So instead, we're going to go for what we originally planned on doing as an additional supplemental episode. Because, as some of you might know, Johnny's wife, Cassie, is due to have a child the week of, like NAIC and all that. So we were going to plan a video where we went over the Black Bolt White Flare set list, just to have something to upload in case of emergency, like in case of emergency, break glass type of video for you guys. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We are recording that right now, and we'll figure out something else should baby Maggie come early. I think that's anything else to note on upload schedule, Johnny?
None that I can think of. I think that's pretty much everything we've got planned out,
Yeah. Sweet. In that case, by the way, before we begin, be sure to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/terminalcreative. That link will be in the description below, where for $5 a month, you can get early access to every episode of this show, as well as access to our bonus show, N21 Plus, and access to a Q&A feed every month, where you get an early preview of the coming content. For instance, we kind of gave this month a heads up on, like, hey, we're going to have Juancho, and we're going to have, who else? We're going to have Powers on. Here's a place where you can ask your questions. You can have some audience participation in the show, ask your questions, get them read on the show every month, if you're interested in doing that. If you aren't able to support financially right now, though, and just want to support for free, be sure to just leave a like, comment, subscribe, rate us on Spotify, and tell a friend about the show. It's the best way to grow the show is to tell people all about it. It's always cool to talk about podcasts with other folks as well. So by all means, please support us in any way that you are willing and able. I think, though, with all that said, we're good to go ahead and get onto it. We're looking at both Black Bolt and White Flare today. These are two mini sets. I wouldn't even call them mini exactly. That we're getting in the coming months that are based off of early Black and White cards. And the original 150, 60 something? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the entire Unova Pokedex, to put it plainly. I'm a big fan of Gen 5. Gen 5 is my Gen 1. It's also very similar to Gen 1, quite frankly. I love it for myriad reasons, except for Alola Mola. She sucks. But otherwise, other than that, I'm a big Gen 5 fan. Some of my favorite Pokemon come out of this region, and we're getting some really cool cards, so let's talk about it. Johnny, we're gonna be starting with, I guess, Black Bolt, and also we'll be looking at the illustration rares as well, because secret rares, they're the pretty cards, because there's a lot of them. I think there's one for every Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, which is wild. That is unprecedented. But that's what we'll be doing. So, Johnny. Oh yeah, there it is.
Right up on screen.
Perfect. For those of you who are just listening to the audio, here's an incentive to come over to YouTube and check us out. We actually just realized that Riverside allows you to screen share, so we're going to be going over the cards, courtesy of Johnny's monitor. So thank you so much, Johnny, for sacrificing your monitor to be here.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. No more having to just listen to us talk about a card without seeing
yeah,
anything
this would have been
about it.
awesome to know sooner.
With the I don't know, like 3 or so set reveal reviews we've already done.
Yeah, there's several set reviews where we've just been like, oh man, let's describe this art for everybody.
Yeah, now we don't have to describe it to you. Now you
Yeah.
can just see it.
Granted, we will still describe for the audio only listeners
Yes.
because we do
Yeah.
have a surprising number of those, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we are going to also have that visual ability for those of you joining us on YouTube. So we've done so much. I said without further ado, and then was like, here's some more ado, by the way. So let's, for real, without further ado, jump into the set list. What we're going to be going over. Johnny, you said we're going to go over every EX, right? And then some of the noteworthy cards.
I think it's worth it to go over like every EX just for the sake of like they print these cards very clearly to be semi-competitive at worst.
Sure.
You know,
even if they're just like kitchen table competitive.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's mostly even the bad EXs are there because some little kid is gonna look at a bad EX. They're gonna look at that Rabska EX from the last set we got, and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, that's cool. I want to try and make that work somehow," or "I just want to have fun with friends."
I'm sold on bad EXs because at the Buzz City Cup, we had that kid. So there was a kid who came in to Buzz City Games, the store I judge at, last week for the cup, and he had never played in a tournament before. He didn't even have a fully sleeved deck. He had to buy some Dragon Shields on the spot. Not sponsored. We had to he came in 2 rounds late. Had to buy sleeves and use like the paper playmat. And he came in with the Melmetal EX battle deck, the single Pokeball skill level one with like the Earthworm or whatever.
Yeah. The really bad one.
It's really bad. And then he came in 2 rounds late, and won his division. And so I am forever, I guess, bad EX pilled, and I'm fine with that.
I mean, I just before we get into this, I feel like we keep saying before we get into this, but
there's a lot of preamble today.
I just sleeved up my Ho Armor Rouge deck yesterday. I was jonesing to get that together, and so you want bad EXs. There's a bad EX.
What is that? Is that Durant?
It is Durant. It's Durant EX. I don't know if the folks at home can see it very well, but yeah. This guy is bad, but he works in that deck solely because it blows up Charizard.
True.
And now Cynthia's Garchomp, so
true.
It blows up some.
And you can mill one.
And you can mill one.
Which is valuable.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Sweet. All right. For real this time, let's actually talk about the freaking cards.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. We'll start, I guess, with, we said we're doing Black Bolt first. Let's start with Superior EX. Give me a second, or not a second. Give me like a couple minutes on this the Superior EX. What are your takes?
So I think we were kind of talking about this in the pre-show a little bit. I think this dude is kind of low key, like a solid option out there. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but this is kind of in a way a show of how they want to, I guess, future-proof the game and kind of run back the power creep that I think we've had the last couple of years. I don't think it's amazing, but it's clear that it does something a little different than just like, oh, it hits big damage number. Oh, it's unlimited damage. Like, this is like a support EX that you can kind of throw in with like maybe another grass attacker and like bump up some damage numbers, or use it as kind of like a early to mid-game sort of dude to maybe figure out like another path through the game, right? I think we've seen like some other really cool decks come out lately where people aren't trying to hit for like unlimited damage, right? Like we saw Blissey EX kind of start doing pretty decently recently with a slower format, and that gets to use Monkey Dory as kind of a supplement to its damage in a way to kind of tank stuff. And I think this falls into that same category where it's like, you're not going to be taking knockouts fully with a single attack with this, but instead you need to use this as a supplement to deal damage, right? Like you could, just like you have Blissey Monkey Dory, you could have Superior Monkey Dory or something like that, you know. And honestly, this is kind of better than that Blissey attack. Like looking for 3 cards and adding them to your hand.
Let's read the card as well. Superior EX is a stage 2 grass Pokemon with 320 HP. It has the ability Royal Cheer, where attacks used by your Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And for a grass and 3 colorless, it will do 150, and you can search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. And then you shuffle. I think this is interesting and pretty solid for a couple reasons, right? So, in my head, the first thing I think of is combining it with Yanmega EX from Destined Rivals, where you move it into the active and then accelerate some energy, and then go from there, and then you move all the energy off. My initial thought was that, but then I remember that something we'll talk about later on in this set is we get triple ignition energy. So this can be powered up in 2 turns, quite frankly, or even 1 turn if for some reason you're going to Crispin and also have triple ignition in your hand. I think that's
could do that.
Probably not the move, but it's something, right? Like there's a universe where that happens, where some goober playing the Superior EX deck has triple excel in their hand, or triple ignition in their hand, and Crispins and all that.
I mean, with the ignition energy, the triple acceleration, like that's also something where you can combo that with like what is it, Teal Mask Ogerpon and an energy switch.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And Teal Mask Ogerpon energy switch is like one of the biggest ways of just getting energy moved to something else that we've seen within the last year. So that's not like a high roll play. That's a pretty common thing to see, honestly, now. So it's not. I don't think it's outlandish to say, oh, you could just Teal Mask in like a single turn, Teal Mask E switch ignition, hit for 150, search 3 cards. But really, the only issue with this card is getting like Ionoed or Judged. But with those cards rotating in G block, at least for now, with Iono and Judge rotating in G block, this effect is a lot more potent after that.
Certainly.
Like search for 3 and not lose those to hand disruption.
It's like how Shinobi Blade on Greninja EX. It's good. Like, this is just going to be a good card. So, excited to see what comes of that Superior. I'm sure there'll be something funny. Like, you'll see an LDF or a For the Win TCG video on this guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But let's move swiftly on. I think the next thing of note is, I want to say this Carablast, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, this Carablast is a basic 60 HP basic grass, has the ability Exciting Evolution, where if you have a Shelmet in play, this Pokemon can evolve during your first turn or during the turn it was played. It combos with the Shelmet that is in White Flare that has the same ability. So it's supposed to be like a buddies deck. What's cool is actually not the Excelgor that this Carablast evolves into. Oh wait, no, does Carablast evolve into Shelmet?
Carablast evolves into the Escavalier, and then Shelmet evolves into the Excelgor.
That's right. They trade. They trade. Yeah. That's weird. I always forget that. Anyway, they trade clothes. They're sharing clothes. They're buddies. You combo this with the, let's see, what's the Excelgor from? Do you remember this set? The most recent one. I think it was Destined Rival. No, it was
be Journey Together.
Journey Together.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that Excelgor has the attack Poisonous Ploy, where for 70 damage for a grass and a colorless, you do 70. Switch your and then your opponent's active is now confused and poisoned, and you switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Sorry, that was a lot of jumbled words. But that's kind of the combo you go for, is you buddy Poffin into for Carablast and Shelmet, evolve into Escavalier. This Carablast is mostly good for enabling Shelmet.
Yes, I think that's the main like path you have to take with it, is like enable the Shelmet. I don't think, because we just don't have any good like Escavaliers really.
Not
that
really.
I know of. I think we were talking about this in the pre-show. I as we were kind of like looking through this, and especially with like our kind of group's bigger interest in GLC of late, I did consider this as like, hey, this is like there's no grass as Cavaliers. Unfortunately, it's a metal type, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But this is a really cool option to include in a grass GLC deck too.
Yeah,
if you
just for that
because
turn one ability.
Like being able to I think that's one of the biggest things in like GLC is like when you have options to like cheat out turn one evolutions, or like evolutions on the turn of cards played. Like that's always really cool. That's why stuff like adaptive evolution on Caterpie and Metapod are so strong.
And Spupa as of recently, or Scatterbug.
Yep. Scatterbug, the Scatterbug and
the Spupa, so that you can get like
that's
Vivillon
with like and the Vivillon also can like evo like a bunch of stuff at once.
Yeah.
So
super cool stuff.
Also, just wanted to note.
Oh, they're in the background. Oh, that's cute.
Shellman's hanging out in the background. By the way, to anyone listening to this, I apologize for train audio in the background.
Yeah, I'm hoping
that going to be picked up.
I'm hoping that maybe Riverside will cancel it out, but if not, so sorry, audio listeners. It should pass soon, luckily. Love that for us.
All right.
We have never recorded this early in the morning, so that's probably why it's never happened before. The next, do you want to talk about this Among Us?
Briefly. This was another one that I highlighted for like GLC. He's kind of cool again. Just this dangerous reaction, 30 damage, and it does an extra 120 if your opponent's affected by a special condition. This is kind of cool for just like a high roll poison deck in general. If you're like you could make like a single prize like Poison Donk out of this. I don't think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a very rogue, not even D tier sort of deck. But it's if you took it to a cup, you could potentially win a cup just through sheer like no one knowing what the heck you're playing.
True.
But even outside of that, really cool. Again, GLC grass deck option as well for like a special condition grass deck. I know friend of the show Zach, they were running a grass special condition GLC deck, and it was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it was fun, and like we like fun stuff, if everything was just win and don't have fun, that would be bad. But not winning and having fun is good better, in my opinion.
In fact.
Cool. Very good.
Also, hear me out, actually, on the Among Us. Salvatore, turn one, going second. Brute Bonnet. Binding Mochi.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a donk.
Listen,
right there.
You play Secret Box, right? You get your Salvatore, you get your Ancient Booster, or your, what's it called? The Binding Mochi. And then you also get, like, whatever stadium you need.
Yeah.
You get the forest one, so you...
Ooh,
it's really bad.
Jungle plus this.
And then your item card is dangerous. Oh, you can't play dangerous later with Secret Box. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. But like that would be like Perilous
Jungle.
Funny to think about. You'd be doing what is that? Poison.
That's taking out some 30? EXs, I think.
Yeah, that's some extra 30 poison on top of like 40 damage on this guy. It's 190. 190. No.
Oh, 190.
With Mochi.
True.
With Mochi, you're just at 190 with the poison that gets you to 210.
That's pretty good,
right? Am I wrong?
I don't know.
No,
I don't think
220.
so.
220.
Holy smokes. Is this the new meta, guys? Wait a minute.
If Jungle works. We might have actually discovered that.
We just cracked the code, guys.
You're welcome. There you go.
Let's move swiftly on. I kind of want to speedrun these because we do still have all of this set and White Flare to get through. So let's just talk about the really special ones and then...
Moving along, I don't think too many of these are that amazing.
The fire types are mostly bad out of this set. The Volcarona is cute because you can burn your opponent's active if you discard a fire. That's the only thing worth mentioning about it, I think.
This Chandelure was, I remember seeing, like, when this was revealed, people talked about it briefly as, like, oh, this could be, like, a line that you run in, like, a, was it a Ceruledge deck? And I was like, that sounds bad.
Yeah,
that sounds very bad. Awful. You have to, like, stack these because Ceruledge just turbos its build. It's not looking to, like, set up a stage 2, so I would not consider this.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the Volcarona was cool because of, like, discarding a fire and burning your opponent's active. We're kind of seeing some more burn support, and I like that,
I love seeing burn support.
I want to see even more.
This would be really cool when they reprint Training Court. Reprint Training Court, cowards. You won't do it. Please do, actually. I love it. I think the next noteworthy thing to talk about is this Seismitoad line. If you don't mind zooming in on that Seismitoad for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so handsome. That's the big guy at the bottom.
Yeah.
He
That art's
is
cool.
a 170 HP stage 2 with the round attack, where he does 70 damage for each of your Pokemon that has the round attack. Palpitoad and Timple both have the round attack as well, just with slightly lower damage numbers. So you can get a total of what, like 4 times 7, 280.
I mean,
280
yes.
for an ignition energy is pretty good on a single prizer. That's just valuable.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing a lot more of these like high HP like stage 2 single prize guys that have like a relatively easy time powering themselves up, and usually they have like some kind of gimmick associated with like the damage on their attack. We just saw that with like the Typhlosion, right?
Yeah.
Ethan's Typhlosion, and that one's like a very cheap power up, just 1 fire energy, and as long as you have 4 Ethan's adventure in your discard, you're doing 280 with that. This is kind of similar. As long as you have 4 of any card that says round as an attack, you get to do that. So you don't even have to have like 4 Seismitoad in play either. You can just have like 1 and then 3 Temple, and that's pretty good. I also like this, like just as an attack and kind of mechanic for the attack, as a call out to Black and White games themselves. Round was, I think, first introduced in that generation.
That's correct.
And was aimed specifically at being used in the new introduced
triple battle,
the triple battle, and the rotating battle, which was like weird, kind of cool, kind of strange. But
very
you got
strange.
that, yes. But you got that there were Pokemon that had the attack round, and if you used round after another Pokemon used round, it did more damage, and it kept scaling for every one of those up to a certain point. I don't remember what the numbers were, but like that's cool. I like that.
It's super cool.
Very excited for that.
This actually seems like if there was ever a Pokemon format that would be like, oh, maybe this is draftable. This seems like a draftable format.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if you were
because everything's kind of low power.
If you were to revisit, like if in the future, if someone revisits like the Scarlet Violet block and decides to make like a larger size, like Scarlet Violet block draft cube or something like that, this is absolutely like a solid option into that. I think it'd be very cool. Yeah.
Moving on, the next thing, water is actually kind of stacked. This Tirtuga is very worth mentioning. Now, we don't have it listed on the Pokebeach website. Do you mind zooming in on that Tirtuga for me so that everybody at home can just so they can see it? I think so. The first attack is the only important part, right? Where it says, it doesn't say it on this translation, but on Justin Basil's site, I'm pretty sure.
There.
Basically, this is Trash-a-Lanche, where you do 30 damage for each item card. I think in just your opponent's discard. And the fact that it's 30x is huge. You think about so many decks where you have like a billion items that you play. I think this will be less good with Badu still around, but it is still worth keeping an eye on because this can be really, really good. I would not count this card out. The only problem is that they don't have a way to recover the cover fossil, so we'll see.
Yeah,
the Caracosta is fine too, I guess.
Still a fossil Pokemon at the end of the day, and fossil Pokemon generally have a pretty rough time of it.
Yeah, this is true.
So, unfortunate there. But yeah, it's cool to see like a kind of a revival of like the Trash-a-Lanche idea. And I think, like you said, Badu not being around might be the better time for this card. But we're also seeing kind of, I would say recently, we've seen kind of a decline of Badu in a lot of stuff. I don't think it's like, I think like the top decks are still absolutely playing it, but it's more one of those cards where a lot of decks are starting to like work their way around Badu and try to figure out how to get around being item locked turn after turn. And if you're figuring out how to get around item lock turn after turn, people will stop playing Badu as much, or it'll be included, but it won't be used as much. And then item cards will start being played more, and then
we'll be back in the Spiritomb paradox, where people put a Spiritomb in, and so Mew won't be played, but because people are assuming everyone's going to play a Spiritomb, they're also assuming that Mew won't be played.
Yeah. And it's just it tale as old as time. We saw it with we saw it with Manaphy. It's just the same thing. And so you know what? I don't mind that when this card exists because I think that that's going to be cool. I also think like a lot of decks are turboing their hands a lot, and so they're like research dump.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Especially with like Gardevoir, you don't have to play the item for it to be in your discard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like that's the biggest part about this is as if your opponent's just turboing their hand and dumping items, boom, you're still swinging that damage 30 times. Item cards, if they start getting that into the discard heavily, you could do a lot. You could do a lot. So yeah. Oh man, definitely a good card.
This might be a long episode.
Yeah, it probably will be.
All right. The next thing noteworthy, I've already skipped to it, is Kyurem EX.
That's fair.
This is noteworthy because it's.
Sorry, I was looking at that.
Oh, that's fine.
I was looking at the Alola Molo real quick. Sorry, that ability caught my eye.
Yeah. It just says once during your turn, if it's in the active, you can put a basic with 70 HP or less from your discard onto your bench. It's just not very cool. Good.
Meh.
I wish it was better.
Yeah.
The Kyurem is 230 HP on a big old basic. For 2 water and a colorless, it does 130 and then 10 to each of your opponent's Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. It's an EX. It's fine. This is like a league battle deck type of EX. So we don't even have to talk about it, really.
Not
but
really.
The big thing is actually in this set is in the electric types. Do you want to talk to me about this electric?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, I was just going to highlight this Emolga real quick. That Call for Family.
Call for Family, good.
Call for Family, 2 basics, colorless, and no retreat costs. That is that's potentially GLC staple right there.
I love a free retreating Emolga, and so does TPCI.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think the electric. So when this card was announced, I know everyone was like absolutely
flipping out.
Yeah, of course. This is a direct 1-to-1. So this electric is stage 1, 90 HP with the ability Dynamotor. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic lightning energy from your discard to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's the comeback of the Dynamotor ability, which this electric is a 1-to-1 reprint of the original black and white electric.
Yeah, from Noble
down
Victories.
To the attack. Yes, yeah. Down to the attack cost, the damage that it does, the HP total, the retreat,
the attack name,
weakness, and resistance.
It's still Electric Ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is a 1-to-1 reprint. The really the only difference is just the card layout and art. And that's it.
Yeah.
So that's really, really cool. We're big fans of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dynamotor coming back in, especially after like Flaffy rotated back in 2024.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to see that come back in. It gives lightning types another way to get energy back. It's not going to be, I don't know necessarily how potent it's going to be. It probably will still be very strong. I just don't know how it's going to work now that Raichu V has rotated, because that was like the big reason you ran Dynamotor was to help Raichu V.
What I think this enables is a much more aggressive build with Miraidon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Especially in a universe where well, no, that doesn't matter. No, but like if they're playing more researches, more Ultra Balls, more ancient vessel or earthen vessels to discard their energy, then get it back with electric. You're getting a lot of energy in play, and there's never a universe where Dynamotor is bad.
No, that's very true.
It's been good for a long time.
And then, kind of to piggyback off of that, like you said, with it being more aggressive and with you being able to pay like more researches and kind of burn through that a little bit more, you also don't have to play the Magneton anymore. Which, giving up the prize card isn't a huge deal, but you could only ever really, like, Miraidon was always just trying to go 2-2-2 on his prize trade, and didn't care too much about giving up the single prize. The issue with that is that you could never really properly do more than one Overvolt discharge. As soon as you get a 4th Dynamotor off in a game with the electric, you're immediately getting better value than Overvolt discharge did.
Which isn't going to be common, but also the ability to do this every turn on some of your lower maintenance attackers is just invaluable. So let's move on quickly. We'll talk about the Thundurus in like closer towards the end when we go over some of the art rares. The next
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
I think is
absolutely.
the Zekrom. It's just another like starter deck EX. It's not very good.
I kind of disagree on that actually.
Okay, talk to me.
So the attack voltage burst rate for 2 lightning and a colorless 130, and it does 50 more for each prize card your opponent's taken.
Yeah.
This is a mid to late game attacker in Miraidon now.
Okay, sure.
Or any sort of like lightning deck. Um, it does 30 damage to itself. That's meh. It's whatever. But 50 more damage is really good because I mean 230 after it's Charizard with like less HP and a slightly different like attack to damage ratio.
Yeah, the formula.
In the formula, but like I mean, your opponent takes 2 prizes. You know, you're doing 260, which is KOing every single
230.
basic EX, or 230. Excuse me. You're right. Yeah. Sorry. 230, which is KOing most basic EXs, with the exception of like a few. At 4 prizes, you're at 330, and you're KOing Charizard.
Interesting. Actually, you know what? You've sold me on this because I also just remembered Miraidon gets much better because Energy Recycler exists.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep a electric generator around, you play Energy Recycler at the end of the game, you bench Zekrom, you electric generator, Dynamotor, and then promote Zekrom and blow up whatever's in the active for a ton of damage. Okay, I see the vision. I think I've been sold on it as a one-up.
I think this is definitely a one-up. I don't think you run more than one,
No,
but
never.
I think it's absolutely worth running one of these in your Miraidon deck. This is kind of like I said, I don't know how Miraidon kind of operates with Dynamotor now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an idea of it, but like I don't know how it operates quite the same way. Raichu is not there. This is kind of your spiritual successor to Raichu in a way. Where Raichu is used to blow up something big, kind of mid to late game. This is going to be used for the same sort of reasons.
Yeah.
You will blow up something big mid to late game.
And this is good for specifically like an electric purist type of Miraidon build. Obviously, right now, if you're playing like the Joltik box, you're running Pikachu EX. So you've got like grass energies in there. It's a whole weird thing. I'd be interested to see how Miraidon shapes up after this card comes out and after Dynamotor comes out. So
absolutely.
But until then, let's just move swiftly onto the Psychics.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's only one good one.
I was like, I don't know. There's too much.
Just Meloetta. Reuniclus is cute, but it's bad.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It's an evolution enabler. But yeah, I wouldn't use it for that much.
If I'm using a stage 2 to evolve my Pokemon, I'm already losing. And also, I'm using Vivillon because there's the Adaptive Evolution Spupa and Scatterbug. So instead, let's talk about this Meloetta EX and how everyone's going to immediately start complaining that it needs to be banned and how it's bad for the game.
Yes, this is the next cry for ban
guaranteed
in the game. 100%. You will see people start complaining about how good this card is and that it should not be here.
Yeah.
But its ability and its ability is the real sell on this thing.
That's right.
So this Meloetta 200 HP Psychic type ability is live debut. If you go first, this Pokemon can attack on your first turn. That's bananas. That is absolutely
so good.
The attack is not very good.
No.
30 damage, and then next turn, Echoed Voice does 80 more damage for 1 psychic energy. If you are attacking with this card, going first on your first turn, you are trying to enable instead some more high roll strategies, I think, but some absolutely strong ones. You can run this with a poison package, Binding Mochi,
Brute Bonnet,
etc. Brute Bonnet, and that is a donk option. It's a donk option without having to run like the Petra Runt, which, I mean, pick your poison. But
literally,
this guy, but this Meloetta with that, the 30 damage plus the 40, 70 plus the poison, 80 if you get the jungle in play, you're swinging 100.
Yeah,
which is good in total. It's very good. That is. I mean, it's obviously more than what the Petra was doing,
and that's before your opponent gets to play a turn.
Yes. Yeah.
So I am generally against things that do not allow for your opponent to interact with their board before you win.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
do think this is a bad card for the game. Like,
Yeah.
I know I was like memeing on it, but we're in a weird place game balance wise where it's beneficial because you need a reason to want to go first.
Mm-hmm.
And when the best go first strategy is just to donk your opponent,
Mm-hmm.
because Badu exists, because item lock is so good, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to print something kind of like this. But what I think this
Yes.
is going to be interesting is how it's going to enable TM plays, right? So,
Yes.
for instance, what can I think of right now? You're never getting
Well,
blindside off. I guess the main two are TM Evolution and TM Turbo
mm-hmm.
Energize.
Yes.
Evolution obviously allowing you to get really aggressive turn one, evolve your guys up so that you've got what's a good stage one? Like you can get Zoroarks in play turn one with this.
Mm-hmm.
You can get
Yeah.
or End Zoroarks, not regular Zoroarks. You don't want that guy.
Yeah.
You can get
Yeah.
it's just a great way to do that. Or if you need to power up somebody really early on, if they have a weird attack cost, that's a great way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how the meta shapes around Meloetta EX. This will be a meta-defining card, I'm sure.
Very much
I
so.
can't imagine
I
this
think
being bad. If nothing else, it will be a niche. There will be one deck at least that this finds a place in permanently.
Mhm. Honestly, I mean, I'm already looking at that as like I said, I built out that Armor Rouge deck with the Ho-Oh.
Yeah.
This would be kind of awesome in that deck. The if I could find a way to kind of revamp it, restylize it a little bit, and maybe it would probably have to cut down on like the box style like basic EX attackers,
Sure.
but instead running this to get guarantee like 2 Armor Rouge into play on turn 1 before my opponents even had a chance to like set up their board state.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insanely strong.
Yeah, no, certainly. So that's kind of all I want to talk about that. We're kind of already at we're almost at the halfway point and we still have quite a bit to go. This Excadrill, we can literally just say like a sentence each about it. This is bad.
Yeah.
It's bad because Garchomp exists and because other fighting type attackers exist.
Yep, this is a level 1 EX battle deck type card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly, like, I think this is a card that you should just read it for yourself, especially because we're low on time, and we're gonna be going long anyways. Conkeldurr is cute. It's a 140 HP stage 2 fighting type where it has 40 more HP for each fighting energy attached to it. The attack is kind of bad, but it'll be cute once. We'll get the Bramble Gas treatment for it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think the cooler thing out of this, honestly, in my opinion, I mean, I'm very biased here, but the Timber 70 HP.
Oh, true.
We don't have a 70 HP Timber in format, so
yeah.
The idea of like enabling a rogue Conkeldurr deck from what was it, Twilight Masquerade, I believe. For reference for the listeners and viewers, the Conkeldurr from Twilight Masquerade has an attack called Gutsy Swing that it's for 1 fighting and 3 colorless. It does 250 damage, and then it says that this Pokemon's attack or attack's cost, I believe, is no energy if Conkeldurr is affected by a special condition. So the strategy is going Brute Bonnet, poisoning your own Conkeldurr, and then swinging for 250, which is bananas.
It's super cool
on a single prizer. And so the problem with that deck, having built it out before, it's a lot of fun.
But you have to play Trolley.
You have to play Trolley because Timbers are 80 HP right now. This Timber effectively cuts Trolley and means that you can run Secret Box, which is way stronger. For that decks. That is one of those decks that absolutely wanted Secret Box and just could never fit it in because it needed to run Trolley instead. So I'm super excited for that, honestly. Like that is beyond insane how good 70 HP Timber was for this.
Certainly.
So I think that may actually end up being like in the future potentially a D tier, maybe even C tier level deck.
Yeah.
Because it's a single prizer, 250 HP, and a way to modify that up to almost 300.
Yeah.
I think actually you can get 300 with poison damage. I think that's
close really enough, good. Honestly. Welcome back, Cloth.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
next up, Landorus. We'll talk about him again when we talk about the weather trio, when we talk about arts. Going into the dark types,
Sturdy Crustle.
Oh yeah, Sturdy Crustle is valuable. If this Pokemon has full HP, it would be knocked out by damage from an attack. It's not knocked out, and it becomes 10 HP. Then you just heal it back up. It's cute. I don't think it'll be super competitive, but it's something noteworthy that is going to be in the format. Up next, they did my goat dirty. Scolipede is bad. Look how cute that art is. Zoom in on that for me. So cute. This is, I can't pronounce that, and I'm not going to. I can pronounce it. I'm not going to put the effort into it at this moment. The artist. The artist.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a cute art. I just wish that the attack was better. For now, we'll just deal with the Destined Rival Scolipede.
This is, at the very least, this is in my opinion, a better Scolipede if you are playing like a Poison Dark GLC type deck.
Yes.
For what it's worth. We do have a Venoshock Scolipede right now, but that one's attack cost is Dark, colorless, and it's doing like 100 plus an extra 120. So like, it's really strong. It does a lot more damage. The issue is just the fact that like Dark colorless is so much easier to enable than Dark colorless.
Yeah, certainly.
So kind of liking this a little better, even for the slightly nerfed damage.
Yeah. So that is that for sure.
He is cool.
I just love Scolipede. That's my guy. Next up, another cool dark type actually is this Crocodile line. The Sandile has an attack that your opponent discards a card from their hand. The Krokorok has an attack where they discard 2 from their hand, and then the Crocodile they discard 2. And then if they have fewer, the second attack is if they have 3 or fewer cards in their hand, this attack does 240. So
yes,
which is pretty cool. That's going to be like just a baked-in Xerosic style deck, like the Bayonet. It's just a cool deck. I think it'll be fine.
I think there's a card in the White Flare set that might be worth potentially running with this as a meme deck.
Yes,
so
it will just be tough. It's a stage 2. Spoilers, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a Gothitelle in White Flare that we'll go over, which will certainly benefit this. But listen a little longer so you can hear what that card actually does.
Yeah. This is, I think that combo is like the LDF special right there.
True.
I'm excited to see that video because I know
this is a grand tree angle for sure.
Very much so. But cool.
Also loving that art.
Yeah, actually, really fun art.
Yeah. Next up, Mandibuzz. This is hand info. It's cool. It's not good. Hunt for Prey ability, where once during your turn, you can have your opponent reveal their hand, choose a basic Pokemon with 70 or less, and put it onto their bench.
Yeah, I don't think that's really worth anything ever.
No.
Even in GLC, that's like 2 cards taking up space.
Yeah.
That you could just run other stuff.
Listen, the children yearn for the Echoing Horn.
Yeah, honestly, like if you're gonna run this, just I don't know, Echoing Horn or Erica's Invitation or something. Like, don't worry about a stage
Darkness
1 Pokemon.
Control, trust. This Bisharp.
This says Cavalier is terrible. Unfortunately,
bad as Cavalier, bad Bisharp.
The Bisharp is bad. Unfortunately,
they did Cobalion dirty as well. Unfortunately.
Cobalion is not very good.
They did all of the Swords of Justice and the Weather Trio so dirty.
Yeah, not a fan.
It breaks my heart, man.
I think the next big one here to talk about is this Genesect.
My God.
This is actually, I think this is very strong.
Could be.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so Genesect EX is a 220 HP basic Metal EX Pokemon with the ability Metal Signal, where once during your turn, you can search for up to 2 Metal Evolution Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. The attack is not very good. It's Metal colorless, Protect Charge 150, and during your next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. But what I think this will benefit the most is Metang decks or Archaladon decks.
Yes.
Because the problem with Archaladon is you can't get things consistent with it. And I think this is just some baked in consistency. There's not a lot of good metal decks right now, but it's cool, and I'm always happy to have another Genesect in the world. Also, when we get to the arts, the art on this thing goes so crazy. It's so good.
I see I see a world actually, and I mean this is just like spitballing thoughts, but I see a world where like you run this and Meloetta in a deck, right? Specifically like a Stevens deck, and
Oh, true. I forgot all about
are
Stevens Metagross.
You turn one Evo into Stevens Metang, and then turn two Genesect into the Metagross, and by turn two you have a Metagross online.
That's pretty good.
That's very strong. Especially for that deck, considering that deck's a kind of a slow deck. I don't think it's reached its full potential. I think stuff like this will help that a lot. I think it's that's going to be one of those cards that it might need a set or two of other support options to kind of come out that will kind of bolster it a little bit. But I still think it's really cool just to see this. I know a lot of people are looking at this Genesect EX though and immediately like, oh, I'm going to throw this into Golden Go,
Oh yeah, Golden Go too, I guess.
100%.
But I feel like you could just play a Cyrano instead of a Genesect, because then you don't have a liability on the bench. But I see the vision.
To agree, especially when like Golden Go decks already like want to just TM Evo on turn one anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard to get into that. But this is like this could be like another layer of like protection for that, right?
Sure.
Like, say you can't get your TM Evo play turn one. This is a turn two guaranteed to Golden Go into play.
It's never been a bad option to have an option.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of Golden Go decks are fine, like putting a one of this card in.
Yeah.
And just trying to like they'll still try to spike the TM Evo play, but if they can't, this is a new fallback, and it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Up next is Haxorus line. It's not very good. This isn't even the optimal GLC Haxorus.
This attack, God, I look at this attack and I'm just like, man.
Oh yeah, Axe Bomber for fighting metal colorless. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it's knocked out. The problem with this attack is that you could just use a high damage attack instead of it.
Yeah, or like the other better GLC Haxorus that does the same thing, but for less energy and targets special energy Pokemon.
Yeah, it's just not very
and
good.
Then also has a 230.
Yeah, also has a 230. Bananas.
Yeah, definitely not worth it. The only thing I could really see this maybe being used, maybe, is like someone throws this into, I don't know, like a Regidrago list and expanded.
This is a Regidrago expanded angle for sure.
If you for what it's worth, at least, if you get this guy into your discard with a Regidrago, you can just start dropping
every basic
fees and GXs off. Like this is an immediate like blow up an opponent's top late
guaranteed
GX or something like that.
2/2/2 angle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's worthwhile for that. So it's an option there, but that's probably the best one.
All right, Johnny.
Moving along,
I want you to talk to me about the most disappointing card in the set that could have been so sick, but it isn't.
Oh man, yeah, we got a Unpheasant line, and unfortunately, the Unpheasant line did not give us an Unpheasant EX. For those who are unfamiliar, we got a Pidove in, I believe it was Paradox Rift. I want to say it's
Temporal Forces.
It was Temporal
Forces. The emergency
okay.
evolution ability, where once during your turn, if this Pokemon's remaining HP is 30 or less, you can search your deck for an Unpheasant or an Unpheasant EX and put it onto this Pidove to evolve it, and then shuffle.
Yep. I mean, we already lost Gape Jump Bog, which was like one of the biggest enabler for that kind of ability, but like now we don't have an Unpheasant EX at all. And because that Pidove was a Temporal Forces card, it is rotating out with G-Block. And I highly doubt we are getting a Unpheasant EX anytime between now and G-Block rotation at this point, with the Megas sets kind of being at least announced. Like they're not going to put stock into giving us Unpheasant EX. If they do, I will be pleasantly surprised, but I highly doubt it. Also, this Unpheasant sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not
this
good
Unpheasant is bad. Like 2 colorless for 120 damage, and then maybe it's just a hide. It's just a hide type effect on the attack. That's not good. Like we have if you're considering GLC stuff, the other existing Unpheasant, and honestly even the existing like Tranquil from the Temporal Forces set are just better.
Yeah.
And the older Pidove with Chirp is a better Pidove. So this whole line sucks.
It's so sad. That's really the only other Pokemon. The next stuff is kind of all trainers that are worth talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll start hitting those real quick. We can kind of cover these as we go. But Energy Coin, this is not great. Flip 2 coins, and if both are heads, search for a basic energy and attach it to a Pokemon. That is not
you have
good.
a 25% chance of getting anything out of this card. If we ever get like a Mew VMAX type of deck where you just want to like burn down your hand to really, really small and then like draw cards with it. So if for some reason the TPCI ever prints another Mew VMAX deck, please don't. Coming from me, please don't. Like then this would maybe be good, but statistically you have to play 4 copies of this card to even use it one time. So bad card. What are some good cards though? The Cover Fossil is just how you get Tortuga. Pokegear is getting an eye block reprint.
Cover Fossil.
This
is a reprint cover.
It's a reprint?
Yes, this is from. It is a reprint.
Oh, that's
we
right.
had this Cover Fossil in Prismatic, I believe. No, not Prismatic. Excuse me. Stellar Crown.
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
This is a Stellar Crown reprint.
Oh, never mind.
So,
I'm tweaking.
Yeah, see. Yeah. It's even H block still. Well, it's not even going to be. Yeah, it's not even printed in I block. Pokegear is coming in the set again, and it is getting
an I block reprint, which I like because we don't have to play Roto Stick. That card sucks.
Yes, Roto Stick is not good. I'm okay with them giving us like a Pokegear.
I think Pokegear is good to have in the format almost all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's very well balanced. I don't have any gripes about this card. You usually hit something, and when you don't, it's just what it is. But you usually hit like one thing. It's not always what you want, but you almost always get something. And sometimes even a supporter you don't want for turn is still better than no supporter for turn. So
certainly,
cool with it.
We're getting an Air Balloon reprint. I love Air Balloon. It's very good. Retreat cost of this Pokemon is 2 colorless less. Super good. It makes your Dynamotor Electric free retreat. That's your pivot now.
Yes. And this is going to just go in all the rescue board, all the cards or all the decks that are running rescue board now are just going to put a copy of this in.
Yeah, I'd rather play Air Balloon almost every time.
I think the other thing that this does, worth mentioning, is this is a card that also may be worth cutting a Latias for. And you may not need to run a Latias in your deck anymore. There's certain decks, not all of them. Some of them still run guys that have like 3 retreat or 4 retreat, like an Iron Hands or something like that, as like a main dude. But Iron Hands already has its own dedicated, free retreat tool, so it's fine. Mm-hmm. I think it's more the fact that like there are plenty of like 2 retreat costs, basic EXs,
and even big EXs that are 2 retreat costs. You put this guy into Dragapult.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, Dragapult's got the 1 already, so it's chilling.
Yeah.
But
it
I
does
think
have
the
2.
bigger one,
or 1. My bad.
The bigger one is in a straight Charizard list or in like a Charizard Dragapult list.
Yeah,
you supplement that that rescue board with this instead, and now you have just a better option. Like this is just strictly better. Yeah. So 100%, this card is going to replace rescue board now, and I don't have a problem with that personally.
No, I don't either.
I think it's totally fine.
Next up, they gave us. They did my other goat dirty. N's plot is just a strictly worse Poppy.
Yes.
Poppy is the Obsidian Flame supporter that says move up to 2 energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. It's any Pokemon. N's plot says move up to 2 energy from your benched Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So it's more restrictive and strictly worse because of that. We do finally get the Juniper print of Research.
We get the Juniper print Research. Still G block. So.
And then we get worse Picnic Basket in Fennel.
Yes. 40 from each of your Pokemon instead of 30 from every Pokemon in play, which way worse.
Yeah.
On a supporter, it doesn't heal your opponent's Pokemon, which that's one of the reasons to play Picnic Basket is to shut off your opponent's Monkey Dories. as well as working with your own Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is this is just a bad card.
It's not a bad card,
I think,
though.
yes, the reprint Prism Energy.
It's so good.
If the Pokemon this card is attached to is basic Pokemon, this card provides every type of energy, but provides only one energy at a time. This card is pretty much going to replace Luminous in any deck that runs strictly basics.
Yep.
I've been debating myself, like, if this this Ho Armor Rouge deck like takes off or like even does decently well. I've been debating, do I just cut Luminous and not worry about trying to have Luminous energy in there for an Armor Rouge if it needs to be in the active for some reason? And I think the answer is yes. I do. Like this being in there means I can like push 2 Prism energies onto a basic EX now.
Yeah.
Instead of the one Luminous and having to like struggle potentially at some points. Like, this is just better.
Yeah, certainly.
So
let's move on.
Some decks won't use it, but yeah, I'm excited.
Let's
for
move
that
on to White
We'll
Flare.
Scroll through this list real quick. It's a visual, but we don't want to get too much.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Up next, we're talking about White Flare. This is the part of the set list where we're talking about White Flare. This is for sure gonna be a long one because we got to talk about White Flare and then the arts.
Yeah.
Because if you did not know, every Pokemon gets an art rare in this set. Every single one. We'll leave the link below to this article so that you guys can see it for yourself. We'll highlight a couple of them that we're really excited about, but we can't. I'm not doing a 3-hour episode.
No, absolutely not.
Sorry about it.
This Levany line is not good, so we'll just kind of skip that.
You said you want to talk about all the EXs. Whimsicott EX is an EX.
Yes. Energy Gift, search your deck for 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like, and then shuffle. This is
it's bad on a basic EX. I don't want it on a stage 1. Wondercott is cool, though, where your opponent reveals their hand and this attack does 50 for each trainer card you find there. It's Poltergeist Bayonet, but it doesn't have item lock.
But yeah, and easier to get off because it's only 1 grass. True. So I mean, I guess if you like, I don't know, there's a world where like you just item lock with Badoo until you can Whimsicott EX your opponent, but like I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's worth it. That's a strictly level 1 EX battle deck.
Up next is that Shelmet we were talking about for the Excelgor. It's the same thing.
Exciting evolution.
The Excelgor is not good, unfortunately.
No, that is not a good Excelgor.
They did Virizion dirty. These guys all are just terrible. So bad. It's so sad because they brought back such a cool holo pattern, and I want to see so many of them. But
I know.
Then we got
for the fans at home, the holo pattern for this set on all cards with standard holos is going to be the classic black and white set.
So good.
Horizontal holo.
The best holo pattern too.
It's very, very cool. I'm a big fan of that, honestly. Even as someone who did not collect during that time period. Very cool.
Yeah. And then we get one of the most talked about cards from this set that has you reconsidering everything.
Yes.
Is Emboar. We're finally getting Inferno Fandango back in the format, where as often as you like during your turn, you can attach a fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Heat Crash is 3 fire and a colorless. Heat Crash for 120. Not a great attack, but having another Inferno Fandango, this Rain Dance type ability where you can just put a ton of energy into play it's always important to look at when it's in the format, because we had Baxcalibur, right? And while the Qianpao Baxcalibur isn't great right now, there are other there's other cards, and it is still a deck in the format, even though it's not good. And it's something to respect.
Yeah. I mean, my mind immediately when I saw this come out, as the huge Armor Rouge enjoyer that I am, this, instead of going with the fire off stage 1 basic Armor Rouge, you run this with the Armor Rouge EX that does 40 plus another 40 for every fire energy attached to it.
Yes.
And this, I mean, that's doing some big numbers. You get it's a 2 colorless attack already, so you just get that attack powered up, and you're doing 120. Get it get like 4 on it, and you're KOing basic EXs pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
And that Armor Rouge EX is low key, like surprisingly strong.
It is a sleeper pick for sure with that Crimson
Mhm.
Armor ability where it takes 80
Yes.
less damage from your opponent's attacks if it has full HP.
Yep, sitting at 260, even with Monkey Dories in format, it's still a good one just because your opponent will have to Monkey Dory to it in order to KO it with almost anything.
Yeah.
Like that guy, even if your opponent, even if you have taken 5 of your prize cards, your opponent's Charizard EX is not KOing it unless they have a Defiance Band.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And it's also a prime target to put something like
Rigid Band
on for just a little bit extra damage mitigation. Yep. So
that's right.
I'm 100% looking at that as an option where you just run a few like a I don't know, like a 3-2-2, something like that, if like Embor 3-2-3. Yeah. I don't know. And then you run like, your Armor Rouge line, and you just kind of go ham with it, Earthen Vessels all day, try to get all your energy into hand, and then power something up.
Yeah, that's right. Next up, the only other important fire card is this Reshiram EX. It is another pretty crappy basic EX Pokemon. Well, no, this is just Red Zekrom, so I'm cool with this. This is fine. It's just harder. Well, no, it's not harder to power up because you have Embor now. This is fine. This is Red Chenpao.
This is probably easier to power up too, just because you have Embor, and you also have Charizard EX, and Charizard EX powers up anything with fire energy. Yeah. So you just if you're like in game and you need to blow up something, I guess that Charizard can't KO, which I don't know what, but at the same time,
well, if you don't want to play Charizard, right? If you want to have fewer 2 prize Pokemon in play.
Well, I'm just thinking from like using Charizard to power this guy up all on one turn.
Oh, yeah.
But the two, I guess that's like one of those things where it's like, it kind of goes to the same lengths of like saying, the Zekrom, right? So at your opponent taking 4 prizes, this guy is now doing 330. Where the Charizard, to do 330, your opponent has to take 5 prizes. So in like some kind of like awkward prize trade situation, if your opponent's taken 5 prizes, you're doing 380 with this?
Yeah.
And that's really good.
Yeah, there's some tanky Pokemon coming out. It's important to realize that the numbers are getting bigger. So there is now a space for something to do over 330 and still be important.
Yeah. And like you said, that Embor, just the fact that Embor kind of enables this pretty easily, means that in like a deck with Embor in this, you're comfortable like losing some prizes and then, swinging back for some big damage.
Yeah, for sure. Up next, Samurott is worth noting just because it's got an interesting control ability, or once during your turn you can switch your active weapon to your bench. If you do, your opponent switches their active weapon to their bench. This is like a backwards escape rope. I wish it was just escape rope, but whatever. I don't care.
It's unfortunate because you have to telegraph what you switch first.
Although you could just push up a pivot. But then
it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You can push a pivot and use it the same way like as escape rope, where you see what your opponent is going to push and create a reactive play for yourself based on that. But it is unfortunate that like that's kind of something that you may have to do. I like escape rope over this ability, but we don't have that, unfortunately. So worth noting.
Another noteworthy card is this Vanilluxe, which is actually kind of sick. It is a 150 HP stage 2 Pokemon with the Ram attack, which does 60 for 2 colorless, and a water colorless double freeze where it does 90x damage. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 90 damage for each heads, and if either of them is heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. This is a 75% chance of paralysis, which is the strongest status condition in the game. It is important to keep an eye on any paralysis cards. The same way that Silver Tempest Articuno was good, this can be good. Not necessarily will be, but it's possible.
Yeah, I think you definitely can like throw this into like you could like build a water GLC deck around this too, and like, make it work out pretty well. I mean, I've talked about already throwing together that like the Butterfree from, I think it was Journey Together. That was 60, and you flip 4 coins, and if 2 of them are heads, you paralyze and confuse or something like that, or paralyze a poison.
It's a fun idea.
Anyway,
Up next, they printed Keldeo EX, but it's bad. I wish they would have given us a sacred form of Keldeo EX. They didn't give us any alternate forms either. They didn't give us the other Swords of Justice in their alternate, or not Swords of Justice, the Weather Trio in their alternate forms.
No Weather Trio in alternate forms. No Black Kyurem or White Kyurem.
True. Either. And no Keldeo EX Sacred Sword. So this is just a bad card. 210 HP basic. Gale Thrust 30. If it moved from the bench to the active, do 120 for 2. It's not good. And then Sonic Edge is 120 and Shred. It's just not good.
Yeah. I think like the thing with like these Pokemon with like their alternate forms existing, I think they really just decided to keep it strictly to Black and White and not incorporate anything from Black 2 and White 2.
Which is a shame.
And I think
quite frankly,
I think that's showing quite a lot with like the Keldeo with no Black Kyurem, White Kyurem.
Yeah, kind of it is a shame. It is money left on the table.
Absolutely.
The next noteworthy card, I think, talk to me about this Galvantula, because we talked about Raichu being out of the game, but now...
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So this Galvantula, 90 HP, discharge for 1 lightning, 50 damage, discard all lightning energy from this Pokemon. It does 50 damage for each card discarded this way. It's not bad. I think that this is kind of like another one of those things. Like you run this, especially since we already have, that Joltik in format, the ever popular Joltik box enabler. This Galvantula easily kind of comes into play with something like that existing. You don't even have to get grass energy out for that Joltik to still get some value potentially. Right. And it's just the best one in format. But the other thing with that is just this Galvantula kind of is the same deal where it is a cleanup sweeper. It does 50 damage if you can. If you are in your mid game, late game, something like that, and you need to blow something up, I mean, a couple of Dynamotors plus a two Dynamotors and a high roll on Electric Generator in the late game. If you don't have a lot of electric in the discard, or you've still have a decent bit in
or
deck,
energy recycler again, like if you
energy
play
recycler,
your deck down low and energy recycler, that's a way higher likelihood.
Yeah, honestly, no, that's 100% worth noting too. Yeah, is going energy recycler and then electric generator. Yeah, I mean, just that alone, a generator and 2 Dynamotors, and it's already swinging like 200, and easily. Obviously beating the attack cost. So then, like, you just have to consider like how do you get more energy onto this card? This is another infinite attacker kind of deal, similar to like Golden Go or Raging Bolt.
It's much harder to turn on.
It's harder to turn on, and I think it's a fine for that, for being like a slightly harder to turn on stage 1 single prizer.
Yeah. It'll either be cracked or it'll be terrible.
Yeah, pretty much. Worth checking out, worth potentially using. I could actually see this being way stronger in GLC though.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, that's
especially now with like lightning spread being the kind of go-to deck now in GLC. Stuff like this kind of enables lightning to maybe drift away from like having to be a spread deck, or at the very least it gives you like a big blow something up button. I think that's kind of in line with maybe being a consideration.
Yeah, sure. Up next, let's talk about this Cofagrigus. This takes a very similar place as Cresselia used to in Gardevoir decks. This Cofagrigus is a 120 HP stage 1 psychic type Pokemon with the attack Elongating Damagrigus attack. For a psychic and a colorless, remove all damage counters from one of your benched Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It is interesting. It might have a use case. I could see Sander liking this card. It's like, I'm going to soak up a lot of damage, and then it's like, boom, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you get to pick the card, the Pokemon. And it's an effect.
Yeah, this is something that you
block it.
Yeah, for sure. This is something that like you stick in a deck somehow and like use like a big tanky dude to just like eat attacks, and then send it all to your opponent for like a big KO or something.
Mm-hmm.
Blissey with like Hero's Cape or something like that with this guy. Kind of could be interesting. Memeing around a
Yeah,
little bit.
of course.
I really like that. I really like that name. I'm going to inevitably be sad when the English translation comes out and it's not nearly as fun sounding
Yeah.
as extending your
Damn,
the
you have to say it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be
No.
that, unfortunately, and I am so sad.
Yep. Oh well.
On to the next one, and I think one that we are.
I'm really excited about this
for
Gothitelle.
multiple reasons.
This is a very cool Gothitelle.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So this Gothitelle is a 150 HP Stage 2 Psychic Pokemon with the ability Twisted Future. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can have your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 3 cards. The attack Synchro Shot is for a Psychic Colorless 90, and if you had the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, this attack does 90 more. The attack is not what I'm getting this for. So those of you who know me in real life are probably aware that I have been cooking up a game show style GLC deck for the Psychic type. And it is very much a control type of like, you have to play my games and then I'll see if I like let you live type of deck. And this is a great way for me to just be like, no, I get to pick what cards you have. You're not playing. Like you get to play the game when I say you play the game. It's a fun way to enable the strategy that I want to employ with the game show Psychic GLC deck. I'm pretty amped about it. It just is going to be more fun for me to have. And Gothitelle always has these types of abilities where you just get a way to mess with your opponent's hand or top deck. So I'm always happy to see more of that. And then I'll be able to run this exact line with the Fortunate Eye Gothita from, what is this? From Darkness Ablaze. Which says look at the top 5 of your opponent's deck and put them back in any order. And then this Gotharita has the same attack. Look at the top 5 and put them back in any order.
Yeah.
So
you can
manipulate.
You can Fortunate Eye. Yeah. You definitely get like multiple chances to do that. This is a fun one. Honestly, even for like that GLC strat, like using this in that GLC deck, this attack is still a potent attack too. Synchro Shot.
Yeah, 180 for 2.
If you have to fall back, you fall back on that, and I mean, if it's 180 for 2, if you can find the space for Dimension Valley in the game show deck, then
I already play Counter Energy, so
yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, then definitely. And even outside of like that, I can see other Psychic GLC decks just going to this card potentially. Because it kind of already fits with like some of the other stuff, especially if you're doing, your like adjusted horn, iron hooves, or what is it? Is that iron hooves? Iron boulder?
Doesn't
iron boulder.
exist.
Yeah, something. I don't know, man. They all
look the same to me.
Yeah, they all have the same sounding name. No, it's Iron Boulder, the Psychic Future Terrakion card. But adjusted horn on that card does 170, but only it doesn't do anything unless you have the same.
Yeah, you play Judge, you play Copycat.
Hand size. Yeah. So you definitely you can definitely kind of like slot this in kind of with that deck potentially to be kind of another version of that, and also have that sort of hand control.
It's super valid.
Very much liking that. Yeah.
Oh, we missed one. Missed one.
Ooh.
Not back here. We missed another card that's going to be complained about for the ban list. Let's talk about it.
What did we miss?
It's up next. It is this Frillish and Jellicent EX combo. Please talk to me about both of these guys.
So Frillish, an 80 HP Psychic type. See Shadows for 1 Psychic Energy, 20 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards. So it's not profitable, but it's a Psychic version of item lock, and it's doing a little more damage than that would do for a single Psychic Energy. Whatever. It's not bad though for a basic Pokemon. The real one comes in with the Jellicent EX. Also, they didn't give us the women. You know,
Yeah.
it was only the male
What's
Jellicent
going on? Wait,
and Frillish. Very unfortunate.
is this the second Jellicent card ever printed? No, it's not.
No,
There's
can't be.
only ever male Jellicents. What is going on?
Really? Ooh, interesting. You know what? That's that's actually interesting to something. Sorry, random segue, but something I saw recently on like an Instagram reel was someone who was like she's like a huge
Yes.
Garchomp fan, and she highlighted that there have only ever been female Garchomps printed on Pokemon cards, because the males have, if you look at like the game data and stuff like that, male Garchomps always have a notch in the back fin, and no Garchomps printed have a notch in the back fin. And I think it's because if I had to guess, like headcanon is that Garchomp is so heavily associated with Cynthia as a character in the Pokemon series, and the fact that Garchomp being, or not Garchomp being what it is, but like just the fact that it's associated with Cynthia, and Cynthia's Garchomp is a female. All Garchomps end up being female printed. Either that, or they're just like, we don't care about the notch, and they're just throwing it out there. But it's cool.
It's
worth noting.
Noteworthy for artists. There's only there are several other cards where female Jellicent are like present, but not the focus of the card.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, back to the main topic at hand. Jellicent EX has the ability Sea Curse. As long as it's in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards or attach any tool cards from their hands. And then its attack, power press, psychic, and a colorless, 80 damage. And if it has at least 2 extra energy attached, it does 80 more damage. The attack is kind of whatever. It's not a big deal, but that ability is disgusting. This is another option for a Gardevoir deck. This is an option on its own to just be oppressive. Item lock is bad enough. Item lock on ability is worse. On a stage 1 is very strong, because we only have like one ability item lock right now, and that's a single prize Tyranitar.
Also has to be in the active, and it's a stage 2.
And it does have to be in the active, and it's a stage 2. This Jellicent is a stage 1. It is a objectively better typing in the game, in the card game right now. It has a huge HP pool, and it completely prevents your opponent from playing item cards and tool cards. And I think tool lock is one of the bigger ones there.
Yeah, certainly.
It's the fact that it shuts out 2 entire categories of trainer cards and limits your opponent to stadiums and supporters.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Especially with the rumor of Boss's Orders leaving the format. It is important to keep an eye on this card. This will make Iron Bundle stocks go up. This is also noteworthy for another card that is bad. That is a bad card. And that card is Alakazam EX from 151, which can attack from the bench.
Yeah. It is a bad card.
It is a bad card, but with Jellicent EX, there will be an LDF or FTW deck that is Jellicent Alakazam.
I could genuinely see again that making like that's like a D tier. That's a very D tier card. If we had any other majors beyond Worlds happening after this set comes out, I could genuinely see like a Alakazam Jellicent, like a single Alakazam Jellicent list potentially making K2. I genuinely could. With just
maybe it'll
how
happen at
impressive
Worlds.
that ability is. If
Probably
someone does some insane Jellicent EX list at Worlds, I would be super excited to see how that works out. That's very cool as a concept. That's very cool. Because I mean, just like we said, oppressive ability, and then you throw like a Hero's Cape on this dude.
Gross.
Yeah. It's the only downside to it is Dark Weak, and there's a lot of good Dark attackers, and that's the only thing that's ever going to hold it back from maybe just being like absurdly overpowered. It's already
granted, the 3 retreat cost is also really tough, because that means Air Balloon doesn't get you out of the active spot, and it's a stage 1, so Latias doesn't get you out of the active spot. Let's not pretend that creatures didn't know what they were doing when they made this card.
I think it is it seems like it's balanced just right.
Yeah. You have to play an item to get this guy out of the active. Or a supporter. So let's not pretend that this is broken. Just let them cook, let the format cook, let Alex Zamiak be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on.
We're kind of
getting closer towards the time I want to start talking about the arts in a second.
Gigalith sucks, unfortunately. Yeah. Sock sucks, unfortunately. This Archeops. Oh god, this Archeops.
This Archeops is broken, dude.
Yes, this is also like the least broken.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the least broken Archeops. There have been like bad Archeops printed. This is the least broken
good Archeops.
Good Archeops they've printed, and it's still kind of
they love to print busted Archeops cards.
Yeah, I took a look at this the other week. There's like when this card comes out, there will have been 5 Archeops printed, and of the 5 of them, 3 of them have been broken because we have the Primal Turbo one, which was just the Lugia enabler, obviously. We had the Ancient Power one, which is so absurd that it got banned and expanded for being absolutely busted. And it's also the reason why Pokemon Research Lab is banned in GLC. There's just...
Well, Primal Turbo also contributes to that ban, but still.
Yeah, Primal Turbo does contribute to that ban as well. That's very fair. But it's just the fact that cards they keep printing Archeops that are way too good.
Yeah. What's cool is this Archeops is also a callback to that Ancient Power Archeops. So for those of you who are not in the know, Archeops from, what is this, Noble Victories, and also the reprint in Dark Explorers has the Ancient Power ability that says each player can't play any Pokemon from his or her hand to evolve his or her Pokemon, and then Rock Slide for 2 fighting in a colorless, which does 60 and then 10 to 2 of your opponent's bench. This new Archeops that we are getting does not have a good attack, but it has the ability Primal Wings, where once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can choose one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon and devolve it by putting the highest stage evolution card into your opponent's hand. This is interesting because you just get to keep devolving your opponent's Pokemon. And it's
TM Devo Light.
Well, and what's interesting is I think if you play this, there's a world where you play into its strengths and devolve twice. Because if your opponent is playing a stage 2 deck, they are not using the stage 1 to attack you either. And if they're using rare candies to evolve, this is even more detrimental. So if we see a rare candy become the best way to get stage 2s into play, this becomes broken. And if we don't, we just double down and put on our TM Devolution and get them back to their basic while you continue to set up. This is, again, creatures really trying to slow down the pace of play. And I like it a lot.
Also, for what it's worth, you can have 2 of these and switch them into the active one at a time and use each one's ability. It doesn't say... I mean, granted, that is, like you said, it probably is just better to go Primal Wings into TM Devo. That is probably an easier way.
Oh, you know what's cool?
But it is worthwhile noting that, at least.
You know what's cool? Put one of these guys in Mamoswine.
Ooh. Okay.
As a pivot?
I don't hate that. I don't hate that, actually. Mamoswine has a hard time pivoting because everything in it is 2 retreat or more for the most part, except for a Pidgeot.
I mean, now you also get Air Balloon. And you had Big Air Balloon before.
We did have Big Air Balloon, that's true. Big Air Balloon is probably just better.
No, Air Balloon so that you can get the stage 1s out of the active as well.
Yeah.
Either way, though, Archeops is helpful to practically fix damage numbers and fix your prize routing if you need to, because sometimes you want to take out a 1 prize instead of a 2 prize. It's cool. It's noteworthy. People are going to complain about it. I don't think it'll be awesome, but it is crazy to include.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. Moving
Another
along,
heartbreaking Terrakion
is bad. For what it's worth,
the arts all look amazing on the swords.
Yeah, the arts look amazing, and this guy is maybe worthwhile in GLC, although I think you still just run the other one that's prevents all damage during your opponent's next turn instead, and it does like a base 120 instead of being a reactive KO option. But it's worth noting. Moving along.
Oh yeah, guard press.
This Purloin actually, again, another one that's maybe worth including in a GLC list. We obviously run Trade Life Art in Dark GLC, but Evil Invitation for a Dark Energy, search for 3 Dark Pokemon and put them into your hand. That's
a really good card for GLC.
There's not really a great Purloin. The best Purloin right now in GLC is like, I think one that lets you what is it? You get to like discard a random card from your opponent's hand, maybe, or something like that. I think that's like the best one. So worth it. Most of the other dark ones suck. Unfortunately,
we are getting an amazing World of Gumball art for Scrafty.
Oh yeah.
I guess
Scraggy. No,
the evolution looks like it's straight out of World of Gumball.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same artist for both of those. I love it.
This could have been Garbotoxin Garbodor, but unfortunately, TPCI is scared. Zoroark is noteworthy.
Yeah. We do have.
This is a good Zoroark.
Mind
Jack for 1 darkness.
30 for each opponent's bench Pokemon. That is a GLC staple right there. This, I mean, in a world of already really good Zoroarks in GLC, this is yet another good Zoroark.
It's always good to have good Zoroarks.
So, yeah. And then Foul Play, and this is where I think you might see this card maybe see some actual like meta play potentially. For 3 colorless Foul Play, choose your opponent's active Pokemon attack and use it as this attack. So this is actually a callback to, I believe, the Black and White Zoroark as well, where it had the same attack for 2 colorless. So I think they're kind of trying to scale the power on that because that's a really good attack, especially now compared to back then.
I'm trying to see the original Zoroark.
Yeah, it may not have been the original one, but it was. It's the one for. There's a dark. It's 2 attacks are 1 dark. It does Nasty Plot, and then the other one is
Foul Play. Foul Play. That is. Oh, where's the original print of that? Because I only see the shiny one. What the heck? I think the only printing of that I can see right now is the shiny Zoroark from Next Destinies.
Interesting. I've got the regular one in a box under my desk somewhere.
I don't see like the regular Nasty Plot Zoroark, but it's cool. And there's also there's stand-in Zoroark with Mind Jack as well.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
It's just cool to see them like kind of continue this trend of like making cool Zoroark cards.
Zoroark is a card that sells
some
cards.
Clear favoritism. Zoroark is a clear favorite in the Pokemon community. Yes. And this attack is I think you could legitimately see this attack make some rounds in just some standard decks. You could even have like some Foul Plays or like team decks or something like that. I wouldn't mind that.
I see the vision. I'm down.
Okay with that. Put one of these, put a deck together of Zoroarks. You got a single prizer, and then you throw like a fairy in there, and next thing you know, you're blowing up your opponent's Dragon
And then
Ball.
we play expanded, so we can play Zoroark GX and Hisuian Zoroark with Doom Curse.
Oh my god!
I'm just playing. Next is the only other really noteworthy card in Dark is Hydreigon, where its ability Greedy Eater says that if your opponent's basic Pokemon is knocked out by a damage from an attack this Pokemon uses, take 1 more prize card. You will notice this does not limit the attacks printed on the card.
Correct.
So, let's talk about this. A lot of the cards lately have been printed in a way that are restrictive because they know how good it can be when something like Lost Provisions Cramorant is using Crisis Punch for free. There will be a brief period of time where Hydreigon EX and Crisis Punch are in the same format, and you will be taking 3 prizes with Crisis Punch at the end of the game.
Yes. Also, worth noting, it doesn't say your opponent's active Pokemon.
True.
So, if you can set up like a blindside style play or something like that, you can blindside something on the bench if it's a 2-pricer on the bench that's already got
also
damage,
3.
you can blindside it and take
or
3.
just taking 2 is valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a cool card.
Any sort of card that cheats prices is automatically worth considering. It's automatically,
and if it can do it
about,
with TMs, even better.
Yeah, the attack cost on this dude is absurd. 3 dark and 2 colorless is going to be very hard to pull off. That said, it's still very, very good as an attack, where 200 damage and then you lock the Pokemon into the active, which is, I mean, it seems to me like the very obvious play is like you're gunning for a stage 2 basic, or not a stage, sorry, a 2-prize basic, like an EX, and you're going to Dark Bite it, lock it in the active. So you do that, it's like your opponent's Iron Hands or something. You lock it in the active, and then you hit it again the next turn, and you take 3 prizes off of that. And you just repeat that process.
This is a deck that's going to go 3/3. But what's also very cool about it is that you can let me find it. Hold on. Sorry. You can also combine this with the Terra Hydreigon EX, right? So you can Crashing Headbutt or Obsidian, and then you can use the regular Hydreigon EX in late game to take those last couple prizes, where you Obsidian for your first 3 prizes, and then and then you can just coast until late game, and then Crisis Punch with this Hydreigon and take 3 prizes. And it's a very good way to go 3/3 and do just fine.
Yeah, I think this, there's definitely going to be, it's going to have some growing pains for sure, because it's going to have to figure out how it kind of does that. But I definitely see a world where like this becomes a very strong strategy of just aiming to set up 3/3 rather than 2/2. Yeah, absolutely disgusting.
Super cool, super noteworthy,
but very, very fun.
Yes.
Very fun. It's going to be fun. Moving along, unfortunately,
no good metal types.
The Ferrothorns.
They really wussed out when it came to some of these cards, because we could have had Durant Mail back, but we didn't.
Yep, could have had Durant Mill back. This Klinklang is kind of okay if you want to run it in like GLC, I guess, because there's better Klinklangs, and you don't need another card to like make Metal tankier. Metal's already a tanky type. You're fine.
Also, the Yukamori art on Durant is very cool. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, we love a good claymation sort of deal.
A suboptimal Druddigon for GLC.
Yep. You're still just running Revenge Druddigon. There's no other good Druddigons, unfortunately. 2 good Revenge Druddigon or bust.
There's 2 good Druddigons.
What other? Which one? Besides Revenge, which one?
You either run Revenge Druddigon, or I've seen people... Oh, wait, is that the same card?
The one with... it's just the one...
I'm tweaking. My bad.
People just heavily run the Sword and Shield like Trainers
that's my thing is one. I always see the Trainers Gallery, and so I've seen a couple random lists running the base Brilliant Stars art, and I'm like, what is that thing? Because it looks like it's a black and white era card because the art is bad.
I have that one in mind, but like the Trainers Gallery, the people run the Trainers Gallery one because that's like such a cheap.
I love that card.
It's like $2 or something. It's so easy to get your hands on. I'll probably have to do that at some point, but yeah, absolutely.
It's a great card. Next is nothing good. Oh wait, Buffalant EX I think is the next one.
Yeah, Patrat, Watchdog, those are bad. Stoutland.
Nah, dude.
I mean, the Stoutland kind of synergizes with like that ignition energy we've been talking about, but like you still have to like
get another card on it,
get another energy of some sort on it. So yeah, it's not great, and just for it to be a stage 2 that's doing
but
200.
Glass Trumpet's in the format. You can just put it on there. You bench Terapagos and you play Glass Trumpet. No, you don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's bad. You're losing.
Even
this is a stage 2 Pokemon.
Yeah. Even in GLC, this is bad because all the good colorless cards are just either the birds, if you run the bird theme one, or if you go turbo basic and then you're just doing Snorlax. And you don't need to get 4 energy, you can just do 3.
Or, hear me out, we legalize Super Boost Energy Prism Star for GLC.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair
I'm
enough. Fair
lying.
enough.
I'm lying. Don't do that. Don't do that. What's cool though
No.
is this Bouffalante EX with the ability Boofer,
Hmm.
which this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. You combine it with the other with the Curly Wall Bouffalants, and you get like a colorless big guy deck. It's cute.
Yep. At yeah, that's a minus. That's a minus 90. If you're down on prizes, you could throw like a Defiance Vest in the deck, and your Defiance Vested Bouffalante EX is tanking 110.
And then they reprint Charon's Care, and you're doing it all over again.
Yeah, yeah, that would be like a really cool thing if they did that. But like aside from that, this is not a great card. 100 damage and only 100 more if the opponent's active is an EX Pokemon. Not even 100.
That doesn't even
100.
knock out every support EX.
Yeah, it's really only KOing Mew and Squawkabilly at this point.
Not worth.
So,
yeah. Your last Pokemon is Tornadus, and that's again we'll talk about that in the arts. But there are some more cool reprints coming in this set. We're getting Energy Retrieval, and eye block printing. We're getting Tool Scrapper.
Tool Scrapper has
God,
returned.
Thank God. It's so important.
Choose up to 2 tools attached to Pokemon, yours and your opponent's, and discard them. Especially when we have not had Lost Vacuum now for a couple of formats. It's really nice to see some tool removal come back.
Is so valuable.
Yes, yeah. I was talking about it with some folks recently. I was saying, like, I don't think they'll ever reprint something like Field Blower, right? Like, I think Field Blower is too strong.
That's why they gave us Gigaton
Tool
Blower.
Scrapper
or Megaton Blower. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. But Tool Scrapper is like, I think it's like right there in like the sweet spot of like very strong, not overpowered.
Yeah.
You're not going to run like more than one of these in a deck, but now you have a way to run tool removal without having to do a jamming tower in your deck. It's going to see cutbacks on jamming tower, which means you're going to see people probably run more like Rocket's Watchtower in place of jamming tower, which just means that colorless cards are honestly going to be at a pretty big disadvantage for a little while until something else comes back to kind of enable them, or a better stadium is printed than Rocket's Watchtower.
Certainly.
So
no, I like it a lot. I super dig it. Next up, we got the Anti-Plume Fossil for the Archeops, and then we got Brave Bangle, another cool tool card. I'm a big fan of this. This is a Choice Belt style effect. Choice Belt was a tool card in the Sword and Shield era that did more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon V. Brave Bangle is the same thing, but 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. Excluding... Go on.
Excluding Pokemon with a rule box. So you can't use 2 prizers to come in and use Brave Bangle and blow something up with plus 30. You're not going to go 230 with your Dragapult EX into your opponent's Iron Hands. You're not going to be able to do that. But this is a card that can be used by stuff like a Typhlosion to bump those damage numbers up even more. At 310 with a Gravity Mountain in play, this is giving Typhlosion that critical enable KO on the Charizard EX. I think that stuff like that is very important to have in the strategy.
This is good for game balance. I think they learned from the Palkia V-Star battles, that one top 8 that was in Brisbane Regionals or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it was all Palkia. A big part of the Palkia Inteleon strategy back in the day was to have Choice Belt so that you could fix your math going into that matchup if your opponent didn't bench as much as they could have, or if they were like holding out. There was a lot of math being fixed that the extra 30 would help a lot with. And this is good for single prize decks, and I'm very interested to see how this does. This will be really good with Galvantula in Miraidon.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a worthwhile inclusion in some decks for sure, and I think it falls in like a sweet spot. I think that they looked at stuff like Max Belt and said, okay, Max Belt maybe is a little too on the like a little too niche, and there's a lot of better ace specs, unfortunately. But this is kind of in the sweet spot. Also, this does enable decks like that are single prize decks that maybe want to use Max Belt to use this and have a different ace spec, which is also very good. Big fan of that too. that Typhlosion deck in particular is one that I know some lists are running the max belt, and I can see it being much happier with running Brave Bangle and saving as a spec slot for something.
Next is Harlequin, a supporter that's interesting. I don't think very good, but it's interesting. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck, then flip a coin. If heads, draw 5 cards and your opponent draws 3. If tails, draw 3 and your opponent draws 5. It's a fun, it's a disruption card. It's wacky. I could put it in the game show GLC deck. I don't know if it's good, but it's noteworthy that with Judge and Iono leaving the format, there will need to be some kind of hand disruption. And I think that the Pokemon Company has learned from how strong cards like Marnie and N and Iono have been, and they're like, let's make it so that there's a little more risk involved in disrupting your opponent's hand.
Yes.
You've got your... Yeah,
this is... Oh, I was just going to say, it's just kind of a cool idea. It's kind of... I think it's a better card in general than something like that. What was it? Lucian, I think
that's
printed in Twilight Masquerade or something like that. And Lucian was a card that's was kind of similar to this. You and your opponent both shuffle your hands into your deck, I believe, and then you both flip a coin. If either player gets heads, they draw 6, and if they get
3.
tails, they draw 3. I think that's what it says. Yeah, and so this is kind of like, honestly, a better version of that, right? It's a little more risky in terms of like, you might give your opponent a better hand, but you might give them a worse hand. The other part I think that makes it better, though, is the fact that it doesn't enable your opponent and you to roll independently. It's based off of the player's roll. And so if you roll a heads, you're guaranteeing your opponent a 3-card hand. Whereas Lucian, you have to like hope your opponent rolls tails instead. It's independent, right? And I like that a little bit more than something like Lucian. That's all. Really.
Yeah, certainly.
Moving along, Sharon's bad. It's just your standard draw 3 supporter. Nothing really to see there. Hilda, though. Hilda's kind of interesting, actually. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and an energy card. Reveal them and put them in your hand, and then shuffle
Note that this does not say basic energy.
It does say energy, meaning you can grab a special energy that you need for something. This immediately enables the next card, the ignition energy.
So good.
I think Hilda is going to see a lot of play. We already see Chorus being kind of a strong card in general. Chorus's Tenacity being a strong card in certain decks right now. And Chorus's Tenacity being very good in GLC a lot of the time. This is a card that I think you will see in a lot of GLC lists, probably in almost every single one, honestly. People will start trying to find a way to slot this in place of something else. Honestly, I would potentially, depending on the list, potentially cut Chorus's Experiment for Hilda.
Chorus's Tenacity.
Chorus's
I would cut it because it shuts off the Kyurem play.
Yeah, it does shut off the Kyurem play, so if you don't need to, if Chorus's Tenacity is the only Chorus card that you run in your deck, Hilda's definitely more worthwhile. Even without too many people running Dragon, it does just stop Kyurem from being a thing when you do hit a Dragon deck, potentially. So yeah, definitely worthwhile. Let's see, what else? I guess the last one is this Ignition, right?
Ignition Energy is the last card.
If this card is attached to one Pokemon, discard it at the end of the turn. This card provides 1 colorless energy while it is attached to a Pokemon. If this card is attached to an evolution Pokemon, it provides 3 colorless energy instead. So this is a spiritual successor to Acceleration Energy.
Yep. Acceleration Energy was the same thing, but it could not be attached to a basic Pokemon. So Ignition Energy allows you to now have the option of attach Ignition Energy to your basic and then research to dig for your evolution. And that's what makes it so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen clearly that they are very heavily leaning on Ignition Energy being a thing in this set. And I think I think we're gonna see a lot more decks try to start running this when they need just 3 colorless, and that's it, especially for their evolution Pokemon. If something has a big cost, but it's only 1 type and then 3 more energy, I think Ignition Energy is going to be very strong.
Yeah. There's no way around it. It's going to be a very strong card, guaranteed. There's no way to deny that. There are going to be decks built around Ignition Energy existing, so cool to see how that's going to work out. Like even the round deck with Seismitoad is going to be entirely based on that.
Yeah, I think that deck will assuredly run it. I mean, that's a prime like Hilda for your Seismitoad and your Ignition, evolve, attach, blow up for 280. You know, it's a very clear like combo.
I guess that's every card covered. Let's talk briefly about some of these art rares. I don't want to spend too long on it because again, this is an audio podcast. I'm going to have you pull up the just all of the art rares, that article on PokeBeach. You have that available, right?
Yes, here we go. I do have it. Give me just a second to switch over to the tab. Perfect. We're right there.
I'm just kind of looking at the let's talk about, first of all, I want to mention I wanted to talk about the Weather Trio. We didn't get I specifically set them aside. So the first one is Landorus. This Landorus,
let me go find them.
This Landorus is a direct callback. This Landorus, the Thundurus, and the Tornadus are all direct callbacks to their original printings, where they had very similar effects in their attacks, and their art rares are the same poses that are featured on those original printings. This has so much aura as a card, but it is bad, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So you've got that's the Landorus. Go ahead and pull up like the Thundurus or the Tornadus next, just so we can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's scroll.
I think it's in the next set. I don't know. This is weird because it's in like the order of like the set.
The set,
which is weird.
I think so.
But yeah, it's so cool to look at. All these cards are gorgeous.
The Thundurus might have been
maybe so. Some of these cards are way prettier than they have any business being, quite frankly. Yeah, it is in the last one.
Here's the Tornadus.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Unfortunate. It's tiny.
Sag. Oh, Thundurus is right before Muna.
Yes.
But again, you're looking right at it, right there. Boom. He's huge. He's so sick looking.
Yeah. Oh, wrong one.
He's so sick looking. He looks just like his old card. So cool to look at. So those three are worth noting because the art is specifically like a part of why the card is an interesting callback. There's so many cards to talk about. I don't think we can go over every art because we just don't have that kind of time. We're already at an hour 45. There's some.
Yeah, I think maybe highlight some cool ones.
I'm always interested in seeing Okay, you went straight to it as well. The Kamiya art.
The Tomokazu.
Kamiya Carablast.
Yeah, Tomokazu art. Yeah, especially after Powers last week.
I was talking about it.
Discussed them being a favorite artist of his and a collector, a specific artist he liked to collect. So I think this was really cool. I'm loving it.
I do love that card. Another art that I'm a big fan of. I love this Snivy, this artist, Yoshimi Miyashi. Miyashi? Is that an O or an A? I can't tell. But I love this artist style. They're featured heavily a lot lately, and I'm glad they're getting their bag for that.
Yeah. A big I believe they've done stuff like the like you mentioned in our pre-show kind of the 151 Chansey, among others, the
most recent Rotom,
the newer Rotom SIR as well. Pretty big on those. I wanted to see this real quick, not the artist I thought it was.
I will say this Petal is so pretty. It has such an ethereal feel to it, where like what was that? Tika Matsuna does this job of like this is such a 90s anime feeling card.
Very
Sailor Moon type of card where everything is like almost this watercolor type of background with the light is used so well. I don't want to harp on every card. I just want to highlight some good ones. And that's just one that stuck out to me. This Darumaka is
absolutely
so cute. It's just a little egg on a pillow.
I think we have to highlight
Volcarona.
the Akira
Oh,
art.
true. Shout out April.
Good friend of the show. Yeah, April was posting this recently in the Discord as well, and yeah, I think this might just be one of the craziest and also one of the coolest looking Akira
Also,
arts
not
I have seen. And there's some really
not
cool
Akira Yagawa's
arts.
first Volcarona.
No,
No,
I
Akira
don't believe
Yagawa
so.
also did the Volcarona V base art. So
Yeah.
they have some experience making a Volcarona.
This is just,
and they did a real good job.
yeah. This coloration, everything is cool. I love like the fact that they captured it. It looks like, I mean, it's not snow. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like
Or it
ash,
could be snow.
but
I'm
it's
not sure.
so cool. It could be. I just love like this. Everything
it's
about
gorgeous.
It. This coloration, all
the composition,
that is a beautiful card.
It's beautiful to look at. The Darumaka
sure.
is just a little egg on a pillow. It's very cute. It's sleeping.
Yes.
It's baby.
The Tomowaka. Yeah. Not familiar with the artist, I don't think, but that's
it's a very pop art. It's a very Zen card, which is ironic because we did not get Zen formed Darmanitan. Why is life so painful?
No.
One sleeper that I wanted to bring up is this Temple. I want this in print.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous. I
Yes.
can't express. This is a very traditional Japanese style. It features one of those tiered fountains that pours from one layer down to the next, down to the next, down to the next. And this temple is sleeping in one. And it's very traditional Japanese style. It looks like grainy. Yeah, almost Ghibli-esque, truly. It is so gorgeous. I love that card. I would be thrilled to pull that from a pack.
Yeah. 100%.
Other noteworthy artist, Shinji Kanda, with this Seismitoad full art. This is the artist behind the Giratina V full art from Lost Origin, as well as many other really popular cards, including Bad Dream.
Yes. Yeah.
My God.
Shinji Kanda does some amazing artwork, some really just interesting designs, very like patterned and
very like
we've talked about
very
them before.
Very trippy.
Yes.
Very cool to look at. Almost Petri disc or dish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very Petri dish type of vibe.
I can see exactly what you mean by that.
This what is that Caracosta? Yeah, that's Caracosta. The Takeshi Nakamura art. I'm pretty sure that's the same artist behind the Blastoise from 151.
Yes, I believe so.
Stylistically, it looks that way.
Let me see something real quick.
Go for it. This is a gorgeous print. You can just see the light coming down through the waves. It's so cool. And you get a good look at Caracosta, which is otherwise a pretty slept-on Pokemon, I'd say. So definitely cool to see a pretty angle of that. What you looking at?
I was double checking. So Takeshi Nakamura did not do that one. They actually don't have a huge backlog. They're a bit more of a recent artist. But to give you like just some examples, the Slitherwing SIR from Paradox Rift, the Iron Moth SIR from Paradox Rift, both of those being, I believe, the promos from the set.
Okay.
No, Slitherwing was not. But yeah, the Slitherwing and Iron Moth SIRs from Paradox Rift, the Iron Thorns base art from Temporal Forces, the Twilight Masquerade Conkeldurr that I like so much, the good Duraludon that's used for the Archelodon decks, the ever infamous Wailord basic art for the new Wailord from Journey Together, the Rockets Porygon 2, like just a bunch of stuff that's like more recent but very cool. Also the promo in
Nice. That's a cool card.
The one that's just running at you and about to like punch you in the face. And the promo or not the promo, but the Paradox Rift, what is it? Build and Battle promo of Aegis
cool. Very interesting backlog of artistry from this creator.
Yeah, a bunch of newer stuff, but still really cool. And it's cool to see like a newer artist get more and more features, you know.
There's a trio of cards I want to highlight real quick because I think it's interesting that they have made it so intentional. Oh, we'll get to him. We'll get to him because I love him.
That's so cute.
But this Cubchoo, they made an interesting like delineation of like the ice types and the water types have very different direction when it comes to the way they're composed and painted. And I love that. So this Cubchoo is super cute. He's just sitting there on an like he's looking at you in the face. He's like, "Why are you melting my ice caps? Please do something about the carbon emissions. It's getting out of hand." Which is it's so cute. It's just a cute card.
Even in a Nova, man.
Dang, man, it's so sad. But then I want to look at this Beartic. This Beartic is a PS2 render. As soon as I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy.
What the heck?
This looks very PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 type of like 3D game. It's I've got a nostalgia for it, and it's never existed before, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cryogonal right afterwards. It's such a shame they wasted a beautiful art on Cryogonal because Cryogonal sucks. But this art goes crazy.
Oh no, the Cryogonal hate is real. I love this dude.
I'm happy for you. You have a great card to get. I don't love it. It's interesting. It's basically cold Bronzong or Bronzor, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But I wanted to highlight those because I like those as ice types. And then Tynamo, you brought it up for a second. Pull that back up.
God,
it's so cute.
So cool.
It's so
very minimalistic.
Very I'm gonna get hate for this. Undertale adjacent type of like minimalist, like shapes, pop art type of like almost not pixelated, but like pixel art adjacent, right? Where everything is very like straight lines for the most part, aside from a couple things.
Like 32-bit.
Yeah, 32-bit
in a sense.
You know what I'm getting at though, like pixel art type of bit.
High fidelity pixel art,
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to look through, see if there's any more that are noteworthy that I like.
I mean, everything looks really
so
cool.
hard to pick one when you've got so many just stunning cards. I
want to highlight the Whirlipede because the motion in this is so cool. Like just the visual of this. This is like it's I don't know if it's the same artist. I don't think it is, but it is giving me flashbacks to like the Galarian Zapdos.
Yes.
That's chasing the Dodrio.
It's got that kind
bit.
of like motion, like you said, in it.
Oh. It's just reminiscent of that for me.
The line is gorgeous. That Venipede is so sick. What the heck?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just chilling. It's gonna get a little drink.
And then Scolipede, of course.
And
perfect Pokemon right there.
Gigantic.
It looks intimidating.
Absolute unit.
It's so cool.
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Absolutely.
Pull up the Sandile.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna cover that one. Regardless. This is fun. This is such a fun.
This is a
angle
gorgeous
to like do the.
For those listening at home and not having video, this is taken almost as a cross section. Where you know how like you get like an aquarium. If you're out at an aquarium, you can see like there's like a water level, and sometimes it'll be like an animal in real life, like poking their head above water. This is an image of a couple Sandile actually poking their head above a layer of sand, and you get that same cross. Oh my god, I just said the word. Cross section of like what it looks like if the sand was see-through, so you can see like their limbs underneath the surface, and it's a different take on that type of card.
It's like going to the aquarium and you see like the tank full of like the alligators, and you get like the water level, like at your eye level or something like that, and so you can see like above it and below it and the alligators floating in it. This is cool because it does that, but with the sand. Which, the whole point of this Pokemon is that it swims through sand.
So cool. I love
Fun
that
concept.
as
Absolutely
a take
amazing.
on a card. And you can even see like the other Sandile in the background, like just doing the same thing. It's so cool to look at.
Bopping around. The Krokorok and Crocodile are just kind of dudes.
Also
they're just chilling there. The Crocodile I kind of like. This art is fun, very comic.
I like both. I think they're cool. They're both good arts.
Yeah. The Krokorok is just kind
aura
of chilling.
farming.
This is kind of close, like you said, to like that
Yeah,
PS2 render.
I
in
see
a way.
it. I very much
Very
see it.
very similar.
It looks like it's straight out of Gex, actually.
Yeah,
This
I
is a
can see that
Gex
for sure.
screenshot.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
some fun stuff there with that.
So many cool arts. We're
not
so
much to say
spoiled
about
for
the other
arts in this
ones.
game, man. Other card games have no
I
shot.
kind of like these dudes fighting. The Poniards in the background, like cheering them on. That's
I didn't
kind
even
of fun.
see that.
They're like beefing up to see which one's stronger.
That's so cool.
Very in line with like the evolution line, which is cool. So just a fun like arts or like image.
You can tell a story.
The art is good. Yeah, exactly.
Another very cool traditional looking Axew.
I love this Unpheasant. This is cute
is so cute. Yeah, it's just a couple.
Cute as hell.
They're cute.
Yeah, it's just an Unpheasant mate. It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, this Fracture is really cute too. Look at that. It's taking a walk in its dad's footsteps.
Yeah, that's fun. And you see like the little Axew footsteps right there next to it. That's fun. Yeah,
this P-Dove is cool.
That's a fun one.
Oh wait, what's the name of that artist?
Stompin'. Which one? The P-Dove?
Yeah, there's an artist.
Or the.
Oh, I'm trying to remember who it is. I have a post saved. They do very minimalist art. It's not for Pokemon at all.
Oh, okay.
That means minimalist artist.
The P-Dove artist, the person who did the P-Dove art, also has done some other cool ones. Another like more recent artist, starting in like Shrouded Fable. They did like the Inkay and Shrouded Fable. They did the Lileep full art in Stellar Crown and the Kecleon and Delmise from Searching Sparks, and then most recently the Clamperl in Death Rivals. So some really cool, pretty arts. I like this.
It's a very pretty
This is a fun one.
Looking up now.
Any art that features more than one P-Dove on a card, I'm always a fan of, because it feels very like in line with the Pokemon, what the Pokemon is supposed to.
It's very unique, like New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
All the pigeons laying around. I can find the artist immediately, but my Instagram's not working.
Let's see
other noteworthy cards. Oh, we got a full art. What is that? Asako Ito or Ida. The crocheted Audino.
The crochet Audino. Yeah, this is so cool. Any crochet art, immediate like just high tier points on that. Like crochet claymation, love those cards. The trainers are like, they're trainer cards. They're not bad. They're just kind of everything. I will say we get to some really cool looking ones here with Kyurem, just absolutely insane looking, with like the icicles on its body, like dripping off of it. Like that's cool. The Zekrom just looking like a menace. Again, really cool looking.
Meloetta.
The Meloetta is so pretty.
That's Baby Girl.
Yep.
She's aura farming.
Mm-hmm. For all the crap I gave Drillbur, the Drillbur EX is cool. Just this art style is cool. It is a shame that Drillbur is not a good card, unfortunately. This is the one that I know.
Bro, this Genesect looks so good. Go over. I adore this 90s anime type of like look.
Mm-hmm. We're approaching like Neon Genesis, Evangelia, and Akira.
Yeah, very much so.
Kind of art style with this Genesect. It's so cool. I like this angle. I like this color on it.
So good. The green in the foreground helps like add to that contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, Genesect always just looking like the coolest Mega Man boss ever.
And then of course the I'm on a date with N card.
Yes.
I love this card.
Yeah.
This looks like I'm about to lean in and try to kiss him.
God, it is a fantastic
so
card.
Good.
This is just
might as well be a photograph.
Yeah.
Obviously not, because it's not
100%.
photographic realism in the foreground. But like the background, bro, the film grain, the blur on it, it looks so good. And then we move on to this next Zekrom, the special one, the all black.
Oh yeah. So for the fans at home, the Zekrom, Reshiram, and I believe it's the Victini are all getting special what is it, full arts as well. So instead of like, we normally get like a gold full art of like a certain card, right? So you'll have like, we had for instance, Raging Bolt got a standard print. It got its illustration rare. It's the SIR in its set. And then it got a full art with that kind of like weird wavy sandy looking background. And then it got a gold version of the same full art with the gold background instead. The Zekrom and the Victini and the Reshiram are getting the same treatment, but instead they are getting colors to match the Pokemon's color. So Zekrom is getting a black background to match its coloration. The Reshiram will be getting a white background to match its coloration, and the Victini is getting a very, very red background.
Very red.
You can highlight those in a minute, but that's just such a cool. I like the concept.
It's better than having gold cards. I hate gold cards. Get them out of here.
Yeah, truly. I'm liking this. This is Excelgor. This is, oh my god, this is almost like Samurai Jack-esque in a way, like Cartoon Network early 2000s.
Also, the Sawaba has another like 90s anime vibe to it. Right there.
Where are we? Oh wait, no, Swadloon.
Yeah,
Swadloon's cool too. Yeah, that's like some Sailor Moon. That's a Sailor Moon Swaddle right there.
Oh, yeah, the Leavanny's actually a real cute one because it's got all the kids hanging around.
The Leavanny's just hanging out, and then the Swadloon's like the angry little like older brother that's just hanging out. Like, don't talk to me, mom. I'm too cool to have a mom. The
Deerling and Sawsbuck are both gorgeous cards.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I like the Saw. You can see the Sawsbuck in the background on this Deerling card too.
That looks like a Bob Ross painting.
But yeah,
what the heck?
It does. It really does. Yeah, I just like it. Two very starkly different art styles. This is almost like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it is almost like Disney-esque.
No, I'm cool with that. I think it's reasonable.
I'm like Bambi vibes for sure. Immediately off of seeing this. I was like, yo, that's straight up just Bambi right there. Very
Virizion, they love to put a legendary grass-type Pokemon behind this exact composition of a tree and a rock. They've done that in like a lot of other cards.
Name a more iconic duo.
This,
but it's good. It looks
swiftly
nice.
on this Tepig, where he's just rolling around in the leaves. Oh my gosh,
super
gorgeous,
fun.
gorgeous look.
Loving that.
And the Embor, the very striking, like you can see the use of light in this card is so incredible.
You know what this it's giving me oh my god, I'm blanking. I don't remember the artist's name, and I'm terrible. This is like a Western artist, but the more recent Hellboy comics and art direction in the more recent Hellboy comics. This is almost reminiscent of it, not quite, but very, very similar in like the, I guess like the angles and the proportioning, really. I would say if you like look at like the way that like Hellboy looks in those like more recent ones, the dude has not practiced leg day, but holy upper body is immaculate on Hellboy. And so this kind of is like, it reminds me in a way of that, with like the very like stark contrast between how wide they went to make the fists and the arms in comparison to like the upper arm, and like the flat nose is like, it's not just like you'd expect it because it's a pig, but it's very flat, you know. It's just all about the angles there, and that's what's making me like reminded me of that a little bit. I love it.
I love this Oshawott line. Oshawott is my starter of choice from Black and White. They're all very
just
pretty.
Taking a nap, sleeping in a hammock.
I think Duat is literally playing volleyball doing some cool things.
Duat is I don't know what it's doing, but it looks like it's having a blast. I think it's like doing this looks like a training course or something. Almost.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then Samurott just majestically with the waves crashing against it, the Wingull in the background. So sick. Literally, get out of here.
Bro is the sidekick. Bro is
True.
happy to
He's
be
just
here hanging out. He is the sidekick. He's like, yo,
Yeah.
what's up?
Oh,
What you
this
need,
duck
boss?
looks pretty too. A view from underneath the water and
Yeah.
it's looking at you like, oh, I'm trying to eat you. What the?
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty
Ducklet
ducklet.
spotted a small fish of some sort and
Yeah.
said, yes, please. The Swandas are cool.
Wait, this Joltik is a cutie too. What the heck?
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Hold
listening.
Oh my god, look the Vanillite,
Yeah.
Vanillish, and
The
Vanilla
ice cream
slime.
guys
These
are cute.
fun. This is another very 90s anime, and in fact, I think this artist we already said was a Aoki. Very, very, again, Ghibli-esque, very 90s anime, very just solid.
And again, I'll
art
mention
design.
it. It's
Love
important.
it.
Like, it's cool how distinct they made the ice types from the water types.
Yes, they were absolutely trying to emphasize the differences. I think in
The
like
typings,
the in-game typing. You know,
Blitzel is a cutie, going down and drinking water. The blue and the yellow in it is so bright and contrasts so well with the like very drab background. And even just like the composition, having the reflection in there have it show up twice, adds more like space that is occupied by this very vibrant creature where there's like a drab background. So your composition is, you effectively are getting like, and this is like maybe a little too art nerdy, but you're getting more Blitzel per Blitzel because you're getting like absolutely. The reflection is also very vibrant and it looks super good.
Yes. And then in like very stark contrast to that, the Zebstrika is like matching its background, like blending in almost, but in such a cool way, so it emphasizes the motion better, I feel like.
It's also a very wet Zebstrika. This might be the wettest Zebstrika we've ever seen. Like it looks like blubbery, which is weird.
A little bit, dude.
But it's cool.
Yeah,
Joltik is a cutie.
Canonically, absolutely tiny Pokemon. So love it. It's literally smaller than a sheet of paper.
Love it.
Smaller than an 8x11. I love this. This is so cool. Yeah, this
They've
is
never printed a bad Galvantula.
I love this. Rare. I just love this design. I don't know why. This is just
it's very Spider-Man.
Cool. This is like it is very Spider-Man. They channeled like 90s Spider-Man perfectly on
absolutely.
Early 2000s, late 90s Spider-Man. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, another noteworthy artist, Shibuzo on the Woobat. I think they've done other really good stuff. I can't name it off the top of my head, but it is a popular artist with a lot of good work in their backlog. Wait, these Swoobats are also moving.
Real quick. Yeah, the Petalil from Journey Together, Destined Rivals Floatzel.
Don't they do a Shiinotic?
I'm pretty sure we've talked about the Wiglet from Paradox Rift. I don't know if they have that. One of the bigger ones that they've done, the Minchino and Chinchino from Temporal Forces. Probably one of the bigger ones. Pikachu V Union. Although I think Pikachu V Union technically is a bunch of different artists. So it's not a single one. Crown Zenith Purloin, the Hisuian Samurott V-Star full art that's got Samurott V-Star absolutely about to murder a Snorunt.
That's
in front of him, like this Snorunt. Yeah, that kind of look exactly. Just a bunch of like really cool stuff there. Galarian Moltres V full art as well. Yeah. So just some cool stuff there.
The Swoobats are also mating.
Hashing those ones.
They're literally kissing.
Literally.
The Sigilift next door to it rocks.
Yes. Oh my god.
You're viewing it from below. You can see the sun up in the background through like a skylight, presumably.
Yeah, and some sort of like
this composition actually is giving Mullet Mad Jack, the Xbox game. It's so pretty.
100%.
Beautiful color composition. I love it deeply.
Yamask and Cofagrigus. I mean, these are cool.
Gothitelle, Gothita, and Gotharita. Yeah,
I like this, dude. This is a fun looking art. This is reminiscent in a
Moondragon
way,
or
for me at
Sunbreon.
least, of yeah, definitely that. I was gonna say, it reminds me a little of like the I don't know if you've played like Elden Ring or not, but like in sort of setting at least, there is a boss fight. The what is it? Rolana. I think it's been a minute since I fought her. I can't remember the name exactly, but she's like mid game boss that's like focuses on magic attacks, and her big thing is like when you fight her, um, you fight her through like one phase of her fight where you have to fight a bunch of ads that are like protecting her, and then after you beat them all and do enough damage to her, you fight like a psychic vision of her in the
That's
second
cool.
half, and it's in a landscape that is entirely like water flooring. So it's just like
Wait, is that
but
the
it's like
dragon
flat,
one?
so you're just walking on water. She can summon a dragon into the middle of the fight. Among other ones, but she's like it's like that with like a gigantic moon in the background behind her throughout the fight, and it's all blue, so it's a little different than this. But like this being like black and gold is reminiscent to like the navy blues and whites in that fight, and I really like this kind of design because it's very reminiscent of that. The water reflection here on the
getting more
Gothitelle
per Gothitelle as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the Roggenrola is cool because it's like an army of them marching, and then you've got the one that's fallen over, and it's got a startled face, and then the one behind it in line is also startled. It's cool that they made, it's cool that they made those guys expressive with their limited emotions.
This one's looking over too. The one next to it is like looking over to like check on him, like, bro, you okay?
I imagine they're like, we gotta keep marching though.
Dude, you good?
Like, get up, or we're gonna trip. You're gonna mess everything up. The Giga lift looks visceral.
Yes. Oh my god, that's just crazy.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Oh, just insane looking.
This looks like this reminds me of hold on. I don't remember the exact artist, but they do a deck of cards.
Ooh, okay.
They are in the I think his name is Ralph Steadman. He does the Flying Dog playing cards by Art of Play.
Yes. Okay.
And this art reminds me of that a little bit. Just because it's wacky and a little gruesome looking. I think that's really cool.
Oh, so, yeah, I see what you're saying. A little bit. I can understand that. For me, this is like the anime character power moment, dude. I'm like looking at like the I don't know, just a moment in like Jujutsu Kaisen or something where like you got just someone is about to like throw down with like their super move, you know? Very much so.
This sock looks super handsome. Right what the heck? Yeah.
Damn.
I wasn't expecting that one to be good. They cooked with that though. The Arkin looks like a poster board for an elementary school.
Oh, I love that. I love that art so much. That's fun. I love that like childlike, art. It's just so nice.
Another anime banger.
Another banger of a Jerky card, by the way. Jerky does some absolute bangers of cards. Yeah, the Minfu and Min Chao.
Yeah.
So cool. These are fun. These are so fun.
Oh, Purloin's so cute. That's just a kitty. Liepard as well in a tree.
Just chilling. The little sub doll.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, Liepard in a tree. He's looking at the
I love when Trubbish is cute.
Think about eating some. Yeah. Trubbish found a bottle and is like, hell yeah. Bro is
I like Trubbish. Everybody dunks on Trubbish. I think it's genuinely a cool Pokemon.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a sentient bag of garbage. It doesn't mean to be gross. Yeah, it's just what it is.
It didn't choose to be garbage. It's just alive.
Yeah.
Zorua and Zoroark are, of course.
Same, honestly. I did not choose to be garbage either.
Zorua and Zoroark also look stunning, of course.
Yeah. Just another set
card.
of banger cards. Yep, these are going to be like a home loan, for sure. Like you will be spending at the ass for these.
Zwilus looks really cool too. I like the composition on this card.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that. I really like that actually.
Link that has like all the Gear children's toy or project in the background.
Oh yeah. That's so cool.
Durant, holy smokes! Sorry, I'm seeing a lot of these for the first time, by the way.
No. For the viewers same, 100%.
Who might be
this is
tired
fun.
of
This
hearing us talk about art that's really pretty. This is also mostly for like the YouTube audience, this portion. So I apologize any audio listeners who are listening if you're not getting anything out of the words we're saying. Some of these are just like, we'll leave these articles below in the description. These are so worth taking a moment just to look at. Literally take time to consume this art because it is worth seeing.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Durant, that's cool.
Crazy.
Whole ass Durant colony. This is fun.
Yeah.
That is so fun. Absolute another banger of a Dredagon. Full art. Once again, it's I feel like Dredagon is like one of those Pokemon that's like fringe iconic enough to like be a fan favorite or close to a cult classic Pokemon. And the art for it always looks good. Yes, very much so.
Another anime ass watch.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. This is like almost like Akira Toriyama-esque, like Dragon Ball Z in a way, or not Dragon Ball Z, but like Dragon Ball-esque. The Patrat and the Watchdog are good.
The Lillipup and Herdier line. And
that's cute. Bro wants to go play. Grab your hat. Let's go.
They're so pretty. It's nice to see animals. Yeah, he's just sitting there.
The pictures. In the
what the heck?
I love any art that like has like pictures of Pokemon in the background. I mean, that's like the Gardevoir line is like one of my absolute favorites because of that. Like the art there. Those cards, I wish I could run like those full arts, and I can't because that's like $250 to get enough for a playset or a deck. Not a playset for a deck.
Let's see here. Next, we're kind of delving into like the full art cards. They're not as good.
Yeah. I'm going to gloss over them, really and truly. But check some of these out. The Whimsicott is cool.
Oh, wait.
This Reshiram is insane.
The Harlequin and Hilda full arts are also in there, by the way. But they're just full art trainers.
I'll go
Reshiram,
look at the
shut up.
Reshiram is absolutely
this is by
insane.
Artist Kawaii. And I don't... Oh, God. You have to see this card, dude. It's so pretty.
If you are listening only, please go check out the links in the Spotify description and go give this card a look. This is genuinely probably one of the best looking cards in the set.
It's so pretty. Keldeo, of course, has another cute art, but it's a terrible card. Jellicent looks like it's going to end your life.
Jellicent is, at least they have the female Jellicent right here. Like
less
watching
misogynistic
in the
Jellicent.
He includes his wife.
He should. Hydreigon
this Hydreigon, just another banger of a Hydreigon full art. Absolutely.
Oh, that's
insane.
Takumiwara.
The Bouffalante squad.
That's
the Hydreigon? Yeah. A good Takumiwara card. Yeah, absolutely. The Bouffalante, absolutely cool.
That also gives me the Galarian Zapdos like type of vibe.
The Hilda, I like this Hilda because the Hilda is like, it's also like the canonic or the canon like Hilda, where like I'm pretty sure she canonically has like the Tepig, if I'm not mistaken. Like that is her canon starter, at least in like a lot of the media. So this is really cool just to have like her with like the Grumpig and the
Zebstrika,
the Unpheasant and the Zebstrika. She's like halfway through the game.
She's killing
it.
And then the Reshiram, of course.
The all-white Reshiram. It does not translate well in the image, unfortunately. This is a card that you are going to have to pull and see for yourself, I think. The symbol, though, oh my god, just so cool. This is cool.
It just looks so good. The art in this set is unparalleled. You can go up to the top of the article, and the Victini card is there as well.
Yes.
So for those who are, this is the one that we're talking about.
Same thing.
It's just crazy, man.
The
art,
that full color Victini.
The arts in this set are unrivaled. Like, you're never gonna. This is like, oh, we're also getting Pokeball and Master Ball holos and God packs.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
This is going to be insane. I will be getting.
I think, depending on the right people, this may be more of a buy than the.
I think so. I think this will be a lot of people's set to buy. This is a set that I'd be interested in master setting. And I don't care to do 100%. That literally ever. So maybe not master setting, because I don't care about getting Pokeball and Master Ball holos. That does not bother me at all. Like, I want all the art rares out of this set.
Yes, this is a set that you would want to collect all the art for. This is an art set gorgeous. For sure. Honestly, probably one of the true, like, proper art sets we've had.
Which is weird, because it's technically not a high-class set.
Yeah.
Which you normally expect from the high-class sets in Japan. Cool. We've spoken at length about art that people who are listening cannot see, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you do happen to just be listening, thank you for bearing with us through the kind of period where it was mostly talking about stuff that you can't see. But I do encourage you to take a look through and really, really consume some of that art. It is stunning. Thank you so much for coming out and listening to a longer episode. I know this one might not be everyone's favorite, and I know we planned on doing the Juancho episode today, but don't worry, that is still in the pipeline. It's coming very soon. I don't know exactly. Let's see, what's today's? Today's the 7th. So
today is the 7th. Not sure how the next week is going to play out.
At best, will be the season finale officially of N21FM for season 2, provided that everything goes according to plan. If not, we'll have something else in the works for just something else I'll be able to upload. Or if nothing else, I might come on and talk about NAIC. See if I can get somebody to come on and cover Johnny as he is enjoying the birth of his child. So we'll see how that goes, but tentatively next week will be the season finale of N21FM, where we'll be talking about NAIC, and then we'll be taking a break until Worlds is over. This will be a lot of time for us to revamp stuff in the Patreon, revamp kind of the way we do the podcast, stuff we talk about, ways we conduct interviews, things like that. I've started working on the back end things that are not fun for you guys to really listen to, but there's a lot of things working, even if you don't see them. If you haven't yet already, be sure to subscribe to the Patreon, because that is where you're going to get a lot more bonus content to hold you over until Worlds is over and we can launch season 3 of N21FM. In addition, by the way, we're going to have a couple of more episodes, at least one more episode in the off season. That I still haven't gotten permission to reveal what it is yet, so I'm not going to say it. But I'll try to have that. Try to be able to talk about it next week. So very excited for the end of the season. There will also be some overwhelming changes coming to the Patreon coming season 3. Not exactly sure what all of it's going to look like, but by and large it's going to be kind of just a full overhaul to change the way that works. Hopefully get some more people in the door to enjoy some of that content, and lower the barrier to entry, and also provide more benefits for those who are supporting the show. So sorry, that's a lot of like housekeeping, but it's important to note because there's going to be a long period where you don't hear from us. I will be ramping up, of course, regular content on the Terminal Creative channel outside of N21FM, but of course, that is an entirely different sect of the channel. So, Johnny, do you have anything else to say before potentially your last episode of N21FM for the season is over?
No, I just want to say, honestly, no, nothing else. It was really cool looking at the set today. Had a lot of fun with this, even if we didn't get to do our initial plans. And yeah, I am excited to kind of, just see how everything's gonna go in the coming week, and also in our
Yeah,
next few
certainly.
months. If this is the last time that I'm on for the short term, then thank you everyone. It's been a blast coming on here and joining Glenn partway through the season and kind of becoming a more permanent co-host. I've truly had the best time starting this adventure, and I'm really excited to keep it going. If this isn't the last time for the season, then let's just cut this put this on to the next one. No. Then I'll repeat the same exact spiel
Sure.
next week.
Outstanding. Thank you all for coming and watching. Again, make sure to go to Patreon, check all that stuff out. And leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your favorite arts are from the set in the comments below, regardless of platform. I'm interested in seeing that. And what you're looking forward to in the next season of N21FM. Thank you all so much for coming out and listening or watching. We hope you have a great day. Thanks for bearing with us for the long episode and the technical difficulties. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.